easy. I say hello now, how you feeling? You be safe, it was a pleasure meeting you. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make my journey, it just blows my mind away. There's no reason to get upset. Jah says to do your part, and He's gonna do the rest. Don't hurt your heart, it only causes stress. You may not realize it, but you're truly blessed. And I know sometimes it's hard. You've worked all day and you don't see rewards. Come on, my brother, let down your guard. Aim for the skies, you might just reach the stars. I know it's money that you're trying to make, but if you're tired, you should take a break. It's not worth it if you break down. There's just a way too much at stake. Take a vacation if you want to. Spend some time with the ones that want you to be okay, because they love you. Oh my God, I said I wanna thank you. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make my journey, it just blows my mind away. Whoa, whoa, I say you're never gonna get me down.
Wagwan Violet, what's up? Polly, what's poppin'? It's been a minute, King.
Oh no.
Thank y'all for the vibes, alright?
Vacation if you
Tell your friends to tell their friends.
sometime.
Where's it from? The tip it from the top. I got you.
Whoa,
It's called Peace of Mind is a Holiday. The latest one from yours truly.
get me down.
I mean it to my soul, man. My peace of mind is my holiday. I ain't giving up to none of y'all.
No.
No, no.
Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make my journey, it just blows my mind away. It's such a blessing to be alive.
Hey, Diane, what's going on?
This world that we
So good to see you, too.
and you can call it to what you want to. I just love my chilling time. I get a thrill like every day, sitting here and watching the children play. I read them a book and I tell them stories. You should hear the things they say. And every time somebody greets me, says hello, I take it easy. I say hello now, how you feel?
Wagwan Mark.
You be safe, it was a pleasure.
Great to see you, King.
Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a
Definitely got a dope vibe for y'all today, trust me.
it's a trip that I love.
Share the link, tell your friends to tell their friends.
Every time that I make
All those in Radio Land, we got you.
it just blows my mind away. There's no reason to get upset. Jah says to do your part, and He's gonna do the rest. Don't hurt your heart, it only causes stress. You may not realize it, but you're truly blessed. And I know sometimes it's hard. You've worked all day and you don't see rewards. Come on, my brother, let down your guard. Aim for the skies, you might just reach the stars. I know it's money that you're trying to make, but if you're tired, you should take a break. It's not worth it if you break down. There's just a way too much at stake. Take a vacation if you want to. Spend some time with the ones that want you to be okay, because they love you. Oh my God, I said I wanna thank you. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make my journey, it just blows my mind away. Whoa. some time with the ones that I want you to be okay, because they love you. Oh my God, G Cole just wanna thank you. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make my journey, it just blows my mind away. Peace of mind is a holiday, and it's a trip that I love to take. And every time that I make this
momentarily a wish, ooh, suddenly a prayer. I know that John knows best. He has a way of telling you to take a little rest now.
The postcards and the pretty bouquets show the feelings all conveyed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to some classic vibes right about now. This one's called Get Well Soon. Much as I love the OGs and the vets, man. I was introduced to this song just a couple days ago. Felt like I've been missing some stuff in my life. Can't imagine you're 44 and somebody just like, yes, I'm making selfish. That's kind of how I felt. Mr. Gussie Clarke, the production is on point. T.I.'s in the building. St. Mary's rocking up with us. Jackie, what's up?
Be the best days in your band.
We are located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
May all the dreams you nurture come within your grasp. Won't get well soon. Get well, get well, get well, get well soon. Get well soon.
Got it. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. What up, Jackie?
Momentarily a wish, ooh, suddenly a prayer. I know that John knows best. He has a way of telling you to take a little rest now.
The postcards and the pretty bouquets show the feelings all conveyed.
What's up, Lyndon?
From above,
Yes, I am.
so is my love for you. Get away, I love you. Get away,
I'm gonna do my last sharing. Encourage y'all to do the same too.
get away, soon, get soon. 'Cause I love you.
May the worst things of your future be the best days in your past. May all the dreams you nurture come within your grasp. Won't get well soon. Get well, get well, get well, get well soon.
Hearing all them legendary voices,
Get well soon.
legendary productions and all that.
Get well soon.
Mad, not true.
'Cause I love you. I do love you.
In poverty or wealth, in sickness or health, my love I give to you. Live that I can live too. So by the sun and the moon, get well soon.
May your days be brighter, and your load get lighter as you go along the way.
This is Wayne Wonder saying, G Cole, legal businessman.
Bang, bang, boom.
I me say this a protege, eh? Homegrown with G Cole, how you say, eh? We make them know what reggae music we a play, eh? Hey, this is protege, the one and only representing for G Cole, you know. Check it, ease out.
And we said them not got no style like we. G Cole, them not got no style like we. None of them no wicked, no wild like we. Accurate, Kabaka Pyramid representing for the #1 selector and radio host. It's all about G Cole, keep it locked. Accurate.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Kalia. I'm hanging out with your boy G Cole on the Homegrown Show.
Yes. Welcome one and all. It is Homegrown with G Cole coming to the Massive and Crew live. Got to big up everybody in Radio Land. All right, large at the Massive and Crew listening right now in Amsterdam on the Royal Zion Hannes Radio. Those people listening in on Real Vibes Live, and of course Rubber Ranks Radio in the UK. Gots to big up those people listening on the Homegrown with G Cole platform, and of course those people viewing live on YouTube, those watching on the Jamaicans.com platform, those watching in on Homegrown with G Cole platform. All right, thank you all so much. Like I said, we got a dope conversation coming your way. You know me, I love having a convo with the vets, the OGs, the legends, and we don't throw the words around loosely. All right, we're not throwing them words around loosely, but I just love being in positions that I can learn. You know what I mean? Sometimes I got conversations I ain't gonna front. I be rolling out of building sometime dumber than I walked in. You know what I mean? Burning brain cells. So it's always a joy to sit down with those people I can learn from. But let me start by saying much love, much thanks, much respect, much honor, appreciation to those we call them our essential people, the first responders, our firefighters, our law enforcement professionals, the good ones, all right? Nurses, doctors, paramedics, all those people doing it, man. Those people in emergency rooms, the people working in the pediatrics, mental health professionals. We need you now more than ever. Thank you so much for all that you do. Our social workers, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I appreciate you big time, all right? Restaurateurs, everybody. And everybody can cook. Y'all keeping relationships tight, all right? I want to big up all the barbershops. Tunica, large up. All my radio personalities, I got to pick up all the artists too, producers and everything, because here's the deal. In order to give us what they give us, they got to be inspired too, and we're going through the same things in life. So for all those people who find inspiration to keep us inspired, thank you so much. It's a challenge. I know that. I know it. So thank you all so much, all right? Everybody right now sending messages, thank you all so much. So again, take a minute to tell your friends to tell their friends to join us right here. Walter, what's going on? We got a classic convo coming your way, a conversation I've been looking forward to having for the longest, man. Hey, Hope, how are you? What's going on? Hello, world. All right, so we got a vibe coming your way. You just heard me squeeze off a little bit off of that song, Get Well Soon. All right? Again, something that was introduced to me recently, thinking that I was a person who knew and loved music and hear a lot of things, but boy, tell you something. Ain't nothing more ironic than hearing some classic works in the modern day time. Right? Somebody say, yo, may I have something for your ear? Normally it's something brand new they did last week, right? But every now and then, somebody say, I got something you need to hear. And I'm hearing it for the first time, but it's classic works. So I love it. But without further ado, man, I just want to say again, thank you all so much for rocking out with me. My guest today, I use the word legend. With all due respect, I'm talking about one of the dopest producers, all right? Songwriters, knowledgeable in all aspects of the business. And this is not relegated to reggae music, dancehall music, our culture, but since that's what I care about in terms of trying to uplift, all right? R&B's got their thing on lock. Hip-hop got them thing on lock, right? Country got it on lock, so we keeping it reggae and dancehall on Jamaica right now. I'm talking about, we're going to put all suffixes in place, all right? Mr. Gussie Clarke. Now let's put on the CD. Sir Gussie.
Yes, I.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you, sir. And I tell you this, when I told folks that you were coming on the program, about 5 people said, man, you lying. You ain't like, you lying. You know, Gussie Clarke coming on your show. You lying.
Oh,
Listen,
man, the pleasure is mine also.
Jano, the thing is, people are listening across the globe, right? The reach is wide, but where it reaches are a lot of reggae and dancehall consumers more than anything else. And I think that there's stuff that they need to know and they need to learn, because we hear a lot. People talk a lot, and the people who talk the most know the least. You know that vibe there already. So
and too much people talk from a position of learning from somebody who learned from somebody who didn't know, who learned from somebody who didn't know.
My granny uncle never needs sister, brother, wife.
Yeah,
you know what I
there
mean?
you go.
I was Bob Marley's mechanic, cook, grandson.
Yeah,
but that's my guy. I know Bob, right? So first of all, one thing I really, really, really love doing, we're gonna get into a lot of details and a lot of knowledge, but one thing I really, really love doing when I have someone like yourself on the program is I love the rearview mirror. Because I always wonder, how did you get where you are? How did you get into this business of music? Music takes so much out there. There's so many other things you could be doing that would have left you with less stress. So let's talk about, how did Gussie Clarke get involved in this whole business of music?
I was one of the most fortunate persons who kind of have an idea of exactly where I wanted to go, what my true love lies. And from attending school, KC, obviously.
Well, I'm Jesus.
And where's another one of them?
No. I tell people this all the time, you know. There's two politics that go on in Jamaica, right? There's JLP and PLP politics, and then there is Kingston Schools politics. I ain't never seen no politics deeper than that from Kingston Schools. And here's Gussie Clarke, KC, old boy. All that's gonna happen right now is about 500,000 KC people. I could jump in my feed right now. I talk about what's the motto? Fortis. Jano. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Go ahead.
No, my thing, is naturally I'm a creative thinker. I think I'm refer to myself as an ideator, an idealist person. And by nature also, again, I acquired some business skills along the way. So for example, from attending Kingston College, I was much more interested in learning how to make speaker boxes, putting a sound system together. Then, buying a dub cutting machine from Duke Reed and start cutting dub in a wooden place upstairs and exporting records to all over the world to people importing records and, faith, everything just carry me along the journey. Right. And it reached a point where I figure, some of the stuff I was hearing, I believe that, I could do something different or like it. And I live by certain philosophies, and one of them is that anybody can do anything you're doing, but doing it different is what can bring success and failure. So I believe I could have added value to music and its productions, and that's just where it started. I mean, even when I go to school, I have a bicycle and go to school early morning and sell a ride and take the money and buy parts and make an amplifier. Wow. And then when the amplifier make me swap it to Witty for a transform and then make a tube amplifier and swap the amplifier to Errol Dunkley for a cutout Bowie Baby I Love Your Rhythm. And it was just my journey. It is my journey.
I love that. Saying all that, I wonder though, because I you dropped some names, like you said, boy, buy an amp from Duke Reed and all those folks.
Bought a dub machine from Duke Reed.
My thing is this. Most time when somebody said the name Duke Reed and all that thing, they're talking about it from the vantage point of, he's the producer, I'm the artist, or whatever the case may be. But this is a colleague at this point in time. And to be honest with you, as I look at the discography and the history and stuff like that, you've probably way surpassed. People like you, something. But look, clarify something. The views of G Cole does not represent those of Gussie Clarke, the whole against him, right? I might think that's what I'm gonna say. But in terms of accomplishment and impact on the culture,
the industry has been good to me, and the culture has been good to me, and I have given back a whole lot to it also. And the business don't owe me nothing. I owe it something. It has given me a life. It has given me reasonable standard of living, and that it has allowed me and given me the opportunity to have made many people become success themselves in their own way and make millions and do well. Some grateful, some ungrateful, but It's the nature of the beast.
No,
You know,
Martin,
this is one of the most ungrateful business you can ever do. You know, I can tell you that music business.
And when you slide over culture and it make it even worse. The views of G Cole does not represent those of Gussie Clarke. Don't hold it against him, all right? So, you know, I said to Bobby Digital when he sat across from me here that there are many of the legends that I love and adore that I never had the opportunity to meet. So as a result, he was going to introduce me to them, right? Today, it's the same thing for you. I never had the pleasure of meeting some of my idols. So you are now going to have to introduce me to these people, right? Talk to me a little bit about meeting and working with Dennis Brown. First of all, when you met D Brown, how far along in his career was he?
It was in the early stages. But one of the things, people believe that there are a couple of things I am good at. But one of the only thing I think I know I am good at is assessing people's individuality, them spirit, them humanity. And I am connected to people through that. Dennis was such a great soul, such a great person that he was destructive to his own self. You understand? Right. Too nice, too good, yes to everybody, want to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know? So he and I just had a great relationship and it just worked. It was magical, it was chemical, and I didn't realize where it was going to go because I am project oriented. If I'm doing a project here now, I am all here. I approach it two different ways. And creative, firstly, and when I get what I think I'm looking for, then I look at it from a business point of view. How do I make it successful? And when I'm done with that, it doesn't matter if it fails or it succeeds. I move on to the next project. That's just how I work. Wow. So meeting at Dennis Brown was part of the journey. And, you know, this was one of the, people would ask you what the best artists you have worked. There's never best. There was a great set of people. The Freddie McGregor, the Cocoa T, the JC Lodge, the Diamonds. You know, those who I've worked with the most tend to be the people that I have had the best experiences with.
Gotcha.
And sad to say and regrettable, I've had the best experience with those people who are more educated. Educated don't mean you go to college or nothing. But you exercise good sense and good attitude and good understanding towards everything. I have had less problem with people like those.
And the funny thing you mentioned that's a worldwide thing. Music or not music, it's just people who are, and I like the fact that you clarified it's not necessarily a formal education thing, because anytime we speak education, sometimes it's almost used to toss an elitist vibe on there, but it's more so just the willingness to learn. Yeah, man, and for example, I remember in those days, the only thing I probably passed was common entrance, because I knew that, creative stuff was where I really wanted to go. So I didn't have the subjects are going to university or nothing, but I was willing to learn, and I was willing to adapt, and I was willing to do the right thing. And that is what got me to where people think I am. How do your guardians and parents feel about the fact that you decided, this is where I wanted to go? I was allowed to do what if most parents allow their children to do, they save millions. If most parents recognize the direction that the children want to go, and if them have the skills and the talent or can be developed or learned, they should allow them and follow them and support them. Because usually in too many cases, after them spending millions to make them go where they want to be, and when they reach adult, them do what they want to do. Yeah. So I was supported all along the way. If you remember, I said to you earlier, probably I didn't say it straight, when the whole thing of buying ride and selling and saving up money for buy amplifier, my mother paid the technician to make the amplifier. Oh, wow. So I was supported all along along the journey. And I have had, in nearly everything I do or did, I have had a team. I have had a team who could interpret and understand my vision and their work. The Mikey Bennett, the Upton Linda, the Carlton Hines, Dean Fraser, the Stephen Stanley's, the Soldier. Everything was a team, but I was just like the captain of the team, Right. You mentioned that team, because I speak to, over the years, I've spoken to a lot of people about just music history and anthologies and you and other producers. And the word you use on team, that's one word that every time I speak to somebody about Gussie Clarke, they always mention that, because you know how we are in this industry. Sometimes we're taught to hoard and hog the spotlight. Right? True. It's always a meeting. I just mean, you just happen to be around, but I just mean. So, but that's our thing.
It was me
Yeah.
who was fortunate to be
Right.
part of that collective, although I was head of it.
Yeah, I know.
So for me, it's teamwork. You know, as I said, gotten a little bit more philosophical, and I believe that success is much more than talent. It is about teamwork and the team that work. You should never be ungrateful to the team that work. Almost never, ever.
I love that. Many people, every time I speak to somebody about Gussie Clarke, they always mention a bunch of other names, which is where I realized, and when I realized that it's damn near like you were never in the studio by yourself. You know, never anywhere creating without the songwriters and the teams and stuff like that. So talk to me a little bit about music works, because that's another word, you know, when we talk about labels in Jamaica, it comes with a lot of idiosyncrasies, an individual thing, and then you have the little disbursements and whatever, but it seemed like music works was more than a label. It's like a hub. Talk to me a little bit about music works.
Yeah, it was. One of the things is that I had a great, I realized that the no man is an island thing can't work. And I realized that not everybody shares or
Right.
can interpret and are willing to interpret and work. And I could identify skills in many different people, and I bring in everybody together, and everybody had their roles in the whole project. You know, I just cross the T's and dot the I's, and they knew exactly what I wanted. I mean, I can't tell if something is C sharp or D flat or A or B, but I had the people all around me knew. I don't know what I want sometimes, but when I get it, I know what I get. And when I don't get it, I know what I get. And I know how to explain it, and they can do the technical interpretation, and we end up with where we end up. And it has worked and has worked well. And as Mr. Lee, you know, that team of people they were consistent over all the years, and it worked, you know. So it was never a me thing. I was a part of the thing, you know. But I played the key role of dotting the T's and crossing the I's, because if I don't like it, it's not going to fly. And as I said to you earlier, if I don't smell the money, I am not going to proceed any further, because it's going to take money to not smell the money.
It costs.
Yeah, man.
Somebody's paying. It's either you or them.
All right.
So-
and as I said, the magic word is you and cost.
You know, I love that approach, because I think if the industry as a whole, all the players, musicians, artists, producers, labels, whatever, if they thought that way, we'd be way better off. We wouldn't be the industry that's almost not lucrative, right? And to be honest with you, reggae music has always been lucrative.
Oh, yes.
The reggae industry is what probably has not always been
True.
lucrative.
And a big part of, you know, G Cole, is that too much persons make perceptions becomes their reality. A man do something and he thinks he should have, him here it plays so much time, he puts a dollar figure on what he think he should get and going to get. And any him not get it, especially if he's a Jamaican and a black man, you're thief. If he's a foreigner and a non-Jamaican, less hostility. I have had more bad names from people who I have never ever done business with at all. 95 or 99% of the people who have negative to say about me. Just ask them, did he do something for you? Did you and him do some business? And then out of the other 5% is a set of people where I am kind of an hub because of my years and experience of providing advice to people. So I'll say to somebody, when they come to me for advice, I says, if it was me, here is what I would do. Now, when that person go back, him don't say, boy, I'm not do it away then. Him say, Gussie Clarke say. That, so somebody sees me on an obstacle and that had some more bad name. But it don't bother me because what can they prove in my case? Nothing.
Well, accountability is a thing that is also not taught. You know what I mean? Sometimes we don't want to take accountability. And a lot of, you said something just now that I think is perfect sense, because it hasn't stopped. It's still to this day. I speak to people sometimes who release a song, right? And the song, somebody with them know play it in the UK. All right? And 9 times out of 10, if you know the DJ and you hear me play a song, it's because him know say listen, right? So he's not necessarily playing this on rotation.
There you go.
We think about the UK too, outside of BBC, and I think there are 2 other stations there. I mean, believe it or not, it's not like the US with hundreds of radio stations, right? So there's a couple of major stations that had small players, right? So even if you're getting decent rotation, right? And decent rotation on these stations is reggae. We're talking about reggae and on 7 days, 24/7. Decent rotation in the UK is not a crap load enough, right? So then you have somebody who come back and tell me, say, yeah, man, they use terms like, me run England, my tune, and whatever the case may be.
Yes.
And then, like you said, then they put what they deem as a value on it.
Anything outside of the thief. But I'll give you a good supporting example from 20, 30 years ago. Earlier in the conversation, I said to you that at one point in my evolving, I usually buy records and export records. So we had this thing called Gussie Exposure, where, a producer doing a project with an album or a single, and them having financial constraints. And because I was doing so much things, importing foreign records and Jamaican thing, I would go to them and say, I'll buy the first 500 of your record. Right? I'll pay for everything. If you want to pay for mix it, pay for master, do everything. But I need the first 500 and I need a 2-week latitude. So I'll ship that record out to Hawkeye in England and VP or Randy's or Keats in New York and all over the place. Now, the same example you give. Let's say that man have friends in 5 different places. So you send it to VP, New York. VP send out every weekend, them tiny people, you just send out new records. So them send to 10 different people all over 10 different states. That man get a feedback from 5 different people who probably hear the record or 2 other people and play it. He puts a figure on it. No, man, my record, I go come brother in England and Canada and tell me and put a dollar figure. All of a sudden you hear,
Rich and I give me the money.
all right. No, it's a normal thing, but me used to it. As I said before, it's one of the most ungrateful business. Although it is one of the most, it can be one of the most lucrative business. You just need to understand what you are not to do. Not even what you're doing, what you're not to do. Because sometimes I say to people, somebody say, okay, you're a thief. Somebody say, I know you're going to call me a thief whether I do it yes or no. And there's nothing here to steal. So when me a thief, it don't make no sense. There's nothing here.
0%, 100% of 0 is still 0. So let's. This is another thing I wonder too, right? The industry, to me, the reggae industry, is perfectly defined by the movie The Harder They Come, right? The Harder They Come. Talent comes to studio, right? Investor, backing, financial person presents themselves, whether it be the producer or not, right?
Our executive producer,
producer. And then the project come out and it is what it is, and you get a couple records as your compensation, right? I oftentimes wonder if with the industry, it's almost people expect to be taken advantage of. They expect to be pillaged upon. So even when you don't do it, it's hard for them to see it as anything otherwise.
I'm going to tell you though, in most cases from personal experience, a lot of them who complain about people taking advantage of them, it's not true. I know of producers who spend millions of dollars and invest and develop people and tutus, them run leave them and them lose everything and then them same one go back a ball or your teeth and thing. And it's unfair. I mean, the business is more skewed in favor of the artist than in favor of the record producer. A good example. An artist might say, why am I not getting a royalty for about 20 years now and thing? Yeah, you didn't get any. What records have you sold for 20 years? Okay, some residual royalties might come through from a VP or somebody. It will even work the paper in terms of what to do and accounting to you. But why don't you say, of all the specials and the dub plate where you have do and all the money you have make over the years, based upon the same recording where the man make, you have never go and said to him, well, I mean, know the song didn't do well. Here's $1 or a penny. It's like you not to talk about that. So it's not fair or balanced, and if it's not fair, it can't balance.
That being said, how and I think the artist will benefit from hearing this more than anything else. How does a producer make money off of a record?
First of all, the recording has to be successful in some way, shape, or form. Whether it end up in a movie, whether it end up in a commercial. And then again, it depends how the deal is structured. Because, for example, you can see a recording being used in a commercial, but the producer is only getting a percentage of the sales from the record company. So the bulk of the money can be made by the record label, not necessarily by the producer. Producer go and get royalties, 16-17% of either what the company gets or what the record is sold for. while the record company would make the bulk. And rightly, they are the one putting up the money in most cases. Investing in reggae, it is unfair. Because why it is unfair? Usually, the producer is the one who spends and puts up all the monies, bankroll the project out there, the record company takes it and license it from you and treat it in the same way as if they were the one who put the money up front to have dealt with it. So you just need to be careful of the deal that you're making to say, okay, we should be getting X% of what it is, not the normal artist royalty structure where you normally do it and then you go have to pay. Most of the times you lose money off of the projects, but sometimes you do so many projects that, 1 out of 10, average it works and make money. But it is not how it seems people are record. But I know artists who say, every record producer a thief. Now just think of the logics. 2 things. 1, if every record producer you got to thief you, then something wrong with you that not even one of them you can get wise upon.
Yeah.
It's just an unfair thing. I mean, I give you a good example. Great things happen and come. It's a good, and I'm glad for the opportunity to him say. The worst artist I have ever recorded in my life was Manly Buchanan, Big Youth. And I'll tell you why he's the worst artist. For over 40 years, that man basically hate me, talk bad things about me, and said that I have robbed him of all his royalties from Screaming Target. Now the problem, it reached a point where I even believe and wonder, it's the first major project I did. Wonder if I really do it, I mean, know. And then one day him said something and it said, no, it is impossible how much money we get from Universal. I've never gotten a penny. So
Universal Records?
Yeah, never. So he was talking on the publishing side. So I went and I did a lot of research to find out how did he come to this opinion. And this is man said by interview, radio, TV, everywhere, me hear it.
Right.
And I said, why would him that? Me not know myself that way. But, your first project, you could have made errors.
Right.
At the end of the day, I solved the problem for him, See? Because he has never come to me and said, why are you stealing my publishing?
Right.
Never. And when I realized that what he said could not be right, and I went ahead and I sought it out. I sought it out and worked it out. And it is, for example, he's one, my description of a Big Youth is that, look, him pompous, him ungracious, him arrogant and lacks humility. And I'll tell you why. Just think if you have I have never heard Big Youth do an interview and speak good of nobody except himself. And I have another philosophical saying for people like that. He who speaks ill of all except in his own requires a cure. So for 40 years, one man hate you and tell everybody, oh, you're a thief. And at the end of the day, you don't know nothing about it and you solve it for him. I have had great moments and bad moments. I have an artist with Jammys must have had named Tanto Irie. Don't know him, never met the man.
Right.
And I on the internet and some podcasts or on YouTube, him do some interview and Gussie Clarke and Bobby Digital is Pirates of the Caribbean. Never met this man, don't know nothing about him, Mr. Red Rat do another interview and talk out. And when Gussie Clarke and the man they say dancehall music or boogie yaga music, never had a conversation with him. Look how much dancehall song I produce. I try to be very careful of my words because I able to defend it. So I get some very bad name, but it doesn't bother me. But also, I use the opportunity whenever I can to make people see the other side of the coin. Right. I mean, the amount that I have done and given back to this industry, I feel it is fair for me to be where I am.
Right.
And, I'm happy for where I am, I mean...
Do they retract statements?
No,
when people go out and say certain things?
No, they don't. So I saw Big Youth, for example. The last Greg Isaac concert being kept in New Kingston, and I went to him and said, where you walk at that? And he said, boy, we don't need all of them things, we can't bother. I'm not going to retract. And the latest thing I hear him say, him of all, saying, I heard an interview about a couple of months ago, and him say, them ask him, so Screaming Target, who produced it? Me and Gussie. That's a blatant lie. Wow. I produced a Screaming Target entirely by myself, got all the rhythms, finance everything, pay every bill, did everything. So you get some beating too, but then there are some great moments, Right. When you look at a Donovan Jeremy or a Clifton specialist who very proudly said that, look, they learn some things and they were glad to have, learned. And when you see on a daily basis, only part of people come to you for advice, and people having copyright problems, and people come and you can show them the way to go about it and solve it, you know. I learned, I rarely do I make multiple repeated mistakes. Nothing wrong with mistakes. It's an experience. So I'll give you a good one. Roughly about 1982, made Past the Dutchie. And here comes musical youth who wanted to do Past the Dutchie. They approached us. No, in them days, we call it...
The original was Black Uhuru?
No, the original was Full Up, the rhythm. Full Up. So I lick over the rhythm Full Up. Mighty Diamonds wrote a song named Past the Dutchie.
Okay.
So there came so a lot of legal wrangling with the Past the Dutchie thing. I had nothing to do with it. But I said to myself, but this don't feel right. I planted the corn and I can't raise the barn, because in terms of the copyright, Mighty Diamonds was signed to somebody out of California called Turcos, not Strictly Rockers, and there are complications with the Full Up rhythm and blah, blah, blah. So what I did, you know, I went and I learned and I understood everything that I could have known then about music publishing. So therefore, as of that day, any songs we recorded, we had to be the music publisher, and our writers had to write them, and that is how that team that at the end of the day, I became and I'm the largest Jamaican music publisher from Jamaica, quite likely, you know, anywhere else you can think of. So we understand everything. The problem with that, you get hold of a bad name too. The problem with it is that too much people in our industry, them come to you and you sign an agreement with them. And everything is fine for 10, 20 years, you know. $1 coming in, $1 coming in, everybody getting paid, you're good. All of a sudden, here comes Kanye West who want to sample a song. So instead of $1, now it's $1,000.
Right.
Them want to get rid of you, disregard the agreement,
And go for
to
the
go collect the 1,000 and get rid of you. In my book, that don't work.
That's
I
bad
stick
business.
by whatever we agree to, because you couldn't tell the man a foreign about, you know. So you have to give me that kind of respect. So me get that kind of bad name, it not bother me, because, I mean, I have everybody checks. I have checks where people signed from all 40 years ago. I have copy of the checks, copy of the scribbling paper, them royalty statement. You get pulled for a bad name, because if you give a guy $1, you must have been a thief. The guy should have really be $10. So again, you go back to the perception of reality. People get too much bad names. People need to recognize that if something didn't do well, then there's nothing there that in any reasonable amount that you can justify. And a man just, him think, him feel, and if it don't come materialize, his perception becomes his reality. Yeah, man, a regular thing, man.
Do you think a lot of artists are aware of the difference between commercial success and street success? Because a lot of times, you know, especially with our music, we make music, in my opinion, we make music for an audience a lot of times that don't buy the music, especially when it's our own people.
Oh, yes.
Right? So the song feels like it's huge in the streets because every dance you're going to play, you know what I'm saying? But the persons who are responsible for seeing the metrics now from the sales are you, the producer. And oftentimes record label, and based on what you're saying, I could see also producers getting persecuted for the ills of the record label too.
Of course.
Because they can't see as far as the record label, they see as far as you.
And again, you might see the logics in terms of what you get, and you accept it, and you are not going to take the position of disrespect and cuss and talk bad about the record label. So to them, it might be maybe a tech side or the whole own a thief. It happens every day, man. As you say, does some people see the difference between street success and real commercial success? I think people see success as how they think they are successful. People see themselves as how big they think they are, yeah. And, you know, worse when them have, you know, a bunch of people who wish them well around them. So everything is yes and good and great and, you know, but reality check. But I tell you, sad is a Jamaican to Jamaican thing, the bulk of it.
Yeah.
When them talk to RC or Sony or BMG, them shut them mouth and keep quiet.
Even if they're blatantly getting screwed.
It's like, for example, he did a program with the whole J-Cap thing and where people saying and so and so. So they'll beat down and give J-Cap a bad name. However, when they are dealing with ASCAP and PRS and BMI, them shut them up. You can't go through the door or get a phone call to talk to somebody. So we beat on our own too much without any proof or evidence because we feel like, we think music business, it is business. It doesn't work on where you think and where you feel. Numbers talks.
we're a finger pointing society in general, you know what I mean?
man.
But the thing is, and this is just my observation, because I've had artists that I sit down and talk to, even on a personal standpoint, and I hear the vitriol, and you know what I mean, I hear it going toward the producer.
Always.
And in person, off camera, off mic, they will hurl it toward the record label too, right? But that's not going to be done on camera, and I know why, because maybe there's an opportunity to do some more work at the record label.
Oh, yes, man.
They'll compromise the relationship with the producer,
Yep.
but I don't want to compromise with the record label.
Of course.
And here comes the negativity hurled at the producer.
This is why originally I said to you, it's an extremely ungrateful business. Because can you imagine, you take millions of dollars and you take an artist, you believe in his ability and his talent, and you investing and you develop for years. In most cases, unless good fortune smiles on you, it takes about 7-8 years for artists to really peak and develop. So if you're investing and developing an artist over all this period of time, you're going to lose money, tons of it. And if when the time comes for money, him believe or she believe that them for jump ship leave you, for try get it, do it for themselves, or somebody tell them, man, they're thief, and them come to John and it's unfair. Jamaican record producer get a bad rap and too much, ungrateful things happen at the end of the day. The part of the problem is a lot of them are not like me, who will clearly tell you that, say, too much artist is ungrateful. I am not saying, record producer some don't do things that they couldn't do or shouldn't do. Right. Some don't even know exactly what they might do. And they might end doing things incorrectly, in error. Some by design too, So I'm not ruling you. I can talk for me. No artist can prove, say, may ever get $1 fame and knowingly, intentionally give 99.9 cents just forget the 1 cent. Never, ever did, never will. Them can talk, but no proof to it. And this is why I am where I am, because I can stand up the test of anywhere, anytime, and talk numbers and talk scenarios and situation. I remember, when we were even looking at going to music publishing, we created our own software. And one of the things I did, I had a section in there where if you give somebody advance, I wrote the details. Mighty Diamonds, say more fixing alternator on them car, or somebody up, John Brown up pay the school fee. Because I found that these facts jolt the minds. I see people come to me and say them never get a penny yet and tell other people, Mikey Bent usually said to them, say, well, if Gussie not pay, come on, me can carry you go up the man. They'll never come. I see people who get thousands of dollars. Hundreds of thousands come and say they have never gotten a penny. Somebody just go upstairs in my storeroom, go through the files, because we have a good system, pull the check out from 20 years ago and say, isn't this you? Why the signature look like mine, but me not sure not so long that we'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, man.
There's a signature look slightly familiar.
Yeah, man. And it has
I'm not sure, but it look like a mine.
Yeah, man, it happened more than once. I know people who have given millions of dollars. I know, let me give you on the publishing side. I know people who create music that have made millions of dollars and had no right or claim or nothing come to you. And and ask for your help, your assistance, your guidance. Solve it for them. Them know I get money. And two to them same one come, I want to say, boy, I mean, I have nothing to do with you and it, because, boy, I mean, I think you are giving away, forgive me, because if I'm involved, we will have to have a stake in it. So at the point now where, as I said before, $1 now becomes $1,000. They want to get rid of you who don't make them a collect because they never collected before. Happens all the while. In my case, no, we have a contract, we have an agreement. I have abided by all terms and conditions. So should you. Yeah, man.
It's always incumbent on both parties to know the business, right? But we all know how it stays. A lot of times, a talent is a gift from God, and a lot of times that's what the people have. They're coming in sometimes no education, sometimes they're coming from humble beginnings and they haven't had the opportunity. So we can't blame people who are not educated and just not being educated. It's circumstances a lot of times put them in that position. But at the end of the day, it is still incumbent on them to cover themselves and to get themselves, in the right place. Now, if you get screwed on record number 1, or if you feel like you get screwed on record number 1, you shouldn't be getting screwed on feeling the same on record number 10. Let me ask you this. Are those conversations being had, even from back then, where, music are going to make so the artist bad, the artist knows that you're one of the best producers. But before we start recording stuff, before we start writing stuff, before you get with my team or whatever case may be, let's talk this part of it. Are those conversations, one, being had back then, and are they being had now?
A lot of them wasn't being had then. A lot of them still not being had now. Because regrettably from the artist perspective, the artists are potential artists. They try to look at the opportunity rather than the business. I can understand that too.
Right.
Some artists don't want to upset the apple cart, so certain things them not ask, them not say. So at the end of the day, there's possibility, nothing in writing or any understanding that both parties can come back and say, this is what we agreed on. That don't work with me. I do not without paper. Nothing without paper.
Right.
So I can pull a contract for any artist I have recorded at any point in time.
Wow.
Here's what we agreed on. And many times we agreed on stuff and I go outside of it. For example, we might have agreed to say, okay, here's what the royalty is going to be then, because we were doing distribution of our stuff at time. So I look at the scenario now and I'll say, instead of we using a royalty structure X percentage, we'll just say X percentage of the income I receive. Because the game changed. First of all, you would have said 18% of the list are the selling price, and that prices have changed and things are different.
Right.
So you just need to structure it, and whichever way it works. The problem is people don't realize, too much people don't realize that the way the numbers change now, you can do $1 million stream and it might be $100, for example, you know. But for them, it's the million them look at. So a million, can't see $1 million each reach to 100.
Yeah.
It's like people believe that, no man, I put up my tune on YouTube and all that. And music is much more difficult to sell now than then, because you are now competing with the world in real time, and 100 records going come out per day, per time. So people need to realize that, how do I get minds to be the record to work, and how do I protect myself? People don't want to pay a lawyer to look at a contract, but later on them balls say the contract was wrong, you know, and the law tell you clearly, your business if you never don't want to look, because most contracts say you have a right to get legal advice, and if you don't do so, it's your daddy. But them no want to pay the lawyer to do it, and later on them ball, them never know. It is one-sided.
You only want the lawyer when that time for sue.
And the sue thing again, people love to talk about sue. It's one of the biggest waste of time, unless it is in circumstances where it involves potential millions of dollars. Because anyhow you're wrong, you know, and you lose, and you can lose on technicality, you're going to have to pay whatever cost, plus pay the people in legal costs, plus lose your costs. You know, you have to be very careful.
That word gets tossed around a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm chopping it up right now with Mr. Gussie Clarke, all right? The legendary, and I'm saying it for those people who are just joining us, all those people in radio land. Walk on, Mish, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube. Thank y'all so much for rocking out, all right? Again, we talking to business because, you know, too often we talk music. True. And drop off the little part where say business.
Yeah, but let me get a part of business. Me tell you about 1982 and past the culture and how I got involved, right? As I tell you, you know, I born in a business that on my head. So I went to realizing what happened, you know. I went to the Jammies, the Bobby Digital, the Danny Brown, the Shocking Vibes, and quite a few more. And I said to them, look, why are you here in Jamaica acting like you're a talent scout for foreigners? You are investing, developing the talent, and then when you go to somebody else in a different country and to be signed by them, I said, let me set up music publishing companies for all of you. It's going to be in your name. I'll do all your accounting. You do nothing except make sure you get the artist signed the agreement, do everything. I've been doing that for over 20 odd years, and these people have made millions of dollars, and you don't hear nobody talk about that anymore. Trust me. Even right now in Jamaica, we're paying statement and paying people millions of dollars because we saw something that could benefit them. So Jamaicans would have a greater control, earn more money than them end up somebody in England or America who own these rights. So we give back the whole heap of things that people have done well, you know.
And recouping international, people talk about recouping, and recouping international, whether it is justified or not, is a task in it all in itself.
Oh yeah, and in our case, when we did what we did, nobody has any legal costs or nothing to do nothing. Everything we observe everything and factor it in. But here the catch-22 was, as I said, the business that is all is on. So we have an interest in it, and we have the administrative rights.
Right.
Now people going on, because I know the nature of the business, I'm tell you earlier, the ungrateful thing. I know that ultimately people going to want to try to get rid of me for go and do what they want to themselves. But it's not as simple a task because we have vested interest. Because I knew this would happen. It's an ungrateful business from top to bottom.
Right. Let me ask you this, because I was talking to an artist the other day, a big artist too, and before he walked off, he said to me, "Hey, think about this. How come you got struggling artists, but you very seldom have struggling producers?" What you say about that?
First of all, them don't know in a record producer struggle, because him no walk and tell people as much as an artist might complain. Because an artist, most artists, you know, part of them job is the image, the projection, and the thing. But you will have both of them struggling. And the producer have less chance of coming out of his struggle than an artist. Because, for example, the artist, if he has true talent, real talent, then he can probably end up somewhere else and be produced by somebody else. But the biggest problem with most artists, you know, and this is one of the things I've said in many places. Any artist, and I'm referring to Jamaican artists, who somebody come to you and say, "Boy, me have a tune you, me think would sound like a hit tune, a good tune for you." And if he says, "Boy," and I've already said many, "Boy, me not sing people tune, you know, come on my publishing," is one of the most stupidest statement I could have ever heard in my life. You know why?
Right.
Him not listen to the song yet. But he comes to a commitment that because I want to ensure I get everything, I will not even listen to your song. Right. And what is so the ironic part of such a statement, you know, and as again I say, if him not listen to it, but he says that, and that happens all the while.
Right.
The real business and the real world is that every artist who is doing well in the real world, he want to get the next best song to sing.
Right.
So he would listen and create listening sessions and opportunities and invite great writers to send in songs so them can listen.
Right.
This is why we seem to have done so well and didn't do so bad.
Right.
Because what we did, we created the songs before even the artists know about it. For example, Gregory Isaac didn't know about Rumors until, you know, we gave him a demo. Song already right. J.C. Lodge never knew about Telephone Love until everything was done all right. Maxi Priest never knew about Just a Little Bit Longer. They were all written and done before and tailor-made for them.
Right.
But one of the things we did differently is that we went as far as build the rhythm and do everything, because we created a better presentation so that they can hear the possibility a lot easier. And the rest of us work on history. People deny themselves.
So they heard damn near finished product.
Yep. Oh, yes, they did. All them have to do is put on the vocals, and once it's done, we'll do the rest. Because, as I said, I go creative first, and when we see if we are where we want to be, I then do what is necessary for it to be commercial. Many of the songs some of these successful artists was never written for them.
Right.
Telephone Love was written for GSC because we had a great chemistry and thing was working. Rumors by Gregory Isaac was written for the Mighty Diamonds. Just a little bit longer was written for Dennis Brown, mix and do everything, not Maxi Priest.
Right.
But for me, a song make it, a singer don't make a song.
Right.
The most important thing to me, firstly, is the song and getting the right person to sing the song. Because you might don't make somebody feel bad and make them sing the song and go nowhere while you know. You know, I mean, as a producer, I have to have that creative latitude. Artists, I am not going to allow artists to come tell me, this is what I'm want to do or I'm not do. To me, you come with your talent and you come with the best science and you should deliver to the best of your ability. If you don't want to do it, I'll move on to find somebody else who I think can do justice to the song. My first obligation is to the song and what is best for the song. Because if it don't turn out to be commercially successful, makes no sense. And as I said to you earlier, I am not one of the record producers who somebody go and tell, no man, and him never did in the studio when we have voice it. I am in the studio every time every song is voiced. I make all the executive decisions. I sometimes I wonder how somebody can say, boy, Misa, put some kind of credit or thing to themselves as a record producer. When all them do, them go to a man, the man build a rhythm. Them get the rhythm, them tell the artist, me want to do a tune with you. The artist take the song, take the rhythm, turn up at the studio. Him don't know what the man will sing on it, you know. Sometimes might not even be there, but him send the money on, and the engineer do it and say, me produce. I do understand. I am creatively involved, and I have to be. That's just how I do what I do. And as I said, doing things differently can bring success, and it has worked well for us.
That haphazard formula that you just mentioned a while ago, producer, so-called producer, sends
Regular
rhythm,
thing, man.
artist, boom, boom, boom. Isn't that an age-old formula also for there to be a publishing error later, because you also don't know if this guy wrote the song?
True.
You know what I mean? So he showed up with a song now on a rhythm or whatever the case may be. 15 years on the road, it gets picked up, it's dropped on the next Black Panther soundtrack, and all of a sudden,
Lawsuit left, right, and center.
because that was the writer and you were supposed to didn't know about it.
Precisely. Or somebody can, the man can come and use a melody out of pre-existing work, and at the end of the day, you don't have the right to it, and you who claims you write your song as a hit tune because an interpolation or a derivative of something else, you basically don't have no right,
Right.
all of those things are complications that having a grasp or an understanding, or people who are understanding of grasp or are truly informed should ensure and minimize all of those possibilities. So you need to have people around you who understand these things. You need to be paying them well. You require their services. But people just don't want to do the right thing. And in fairness, some of them don't know what the right thing is, and they should be guided, and they should be paid to be guided,
Yeah. What I want, and for those people, for the 4 people across the globe that are not familiar with some of the catalog, you just spoke about Rumors, you just talk about Telephone Love, but do me a favor. I mean, we ain't got that kind of time, but just do me a favor and just mention a couple of the hits from the Gussie Clarke catalog, just a little bit.
Past the Kochi. God. Pirates Anthem, Twice My Age, Mr. Loverman.
Jano.
My problem is probably who have I not recorded?
Jano.
I mean, you heard Get Well Soon. How much people in Jamaica can tell you them record Jimmy Cliff? How much people can tell you them record Bunny Wheeler and Carleen Davis and Judy Moat and Muta? I mean...
And one song.
All right. And that probably was the first Jamaican recording in the history of our music with so much artists recorded on it, and an original song by original Jamaican artists. That is something historical,
Wow.
The only song came sometime a little bit after that was Rise Up by, which is a Reggae Boys theme song. No, we have done a lot of things. I mean, for me, it's not just, I have given back also. For example, I mean, I was one of the primary founder and founding member of JCAP. I am one of the founding members of JAMS. I am one of the founding members of Jamaica Anti-Piracy Alliance. I am vice chair of the Entertainment Advisory Bureau,
So you were hell-bent on from day one protecting the music, because that's one thing.
Yes.
I think that's what we lost out on a lot, is we never thought about protecting them.
Not just the music, and these things were not conceived to be that way. Just how I did things, it ended up being that way, And one of the things is that I believe that everybody deserve what they deserve. Like people, I don't look at, boy, I have to help the needy. I want to help the deserving. I can't solve the needy problem. Too much people need it. So anything I can do for anybody who I think is deserving, I will definitely do it. And that's a daily things, man. I know people who signed to record producers and 10, 20 years have never gotten a penny, and them come to me and we negotiate and work it out, and people end up back and doing very well at the end of the day, and nobody can come to me and say, boy, thank you. See a thing. No, you can't do that. You can't bribe me or give me. I do what I can do because I want to do what I am going to do for you. There's no cost, no benefit, no nothing. I don't play that.
We talk oftentimes about the woes and the struggles of our people and working with our people, our artists. Sometimes it almost seems like it's not even worth the struggle and the stress. But outside of our culture or community, now we're talking about like working with the likes of Ariana, right? Is that process easier?
Oh, yes.
Easier.
Simple.
More lucrative and still easier.
Easier. A is A, B is B, C is D. Yes, we agree. Simple one, too.
Yeah, nobody coming back later.
No, sir. No, you had agreed and it works. When, Hazwad and Island Records sending them tons of people and we're working, Never had a problem. You agree, you discuss it, you sign, you write off. Each lawyer, look, it's good, it's great. Project done, everybody happy done. You don't get no backlash where everybody I call you. This, that are people, how come in? No. It is much more easier than working over people. Mind you, you know, you have some great Jamaican people. The Freddie McGregors, the Cocotte, the GSC Lodge. As I said, those people are learned and they understand, and if they agree to something, and I'm just calling names just a purpose. It's not, these are the ones. The Dennis Brown. Gregory Isaac usually say no. And even Freddie say it too. He say, boy, one thing with Gussie, you know, boy, when I negotiate, the money might small, but you'll get what you agree upon. The problem is that people agree to something, and later on you want to change minds. And it just, you don't do that. It can't work. I only try to that Jamaican person.
Right.
And
is it our culture? Is that what the issue is? Is that culture?
Part of the culture, and I think a part is a culture, and a part I think is a lack of respect for. Well, we might have a lack of respect for ourselves when we are dealing with each other.
Yeah.
So somehow, you know, the foreigner man and the whole culture, sometimes it's good all a slavery mentality and a crab in a barrel thing too.
Yeah.
It's a possibility, because sometimes the basis and things where people come and say, and you wonder, right, but why would you even say that when, you know, not like that, and you know. But I know me no business, me no want to say nothing to you. And then the ignorance kicks in to more for, you know, disguise the facts and the realities. But as me tell you, I can defend me. I know of people, you know, artist, record producer, who do some things that really, really I would not do or recommend to do. And nobody can come to me personally for advice to do anything that is unethical or I would not do. You know, I tell you plain, no, I don't have nothing to do with that. Don't ask me. Don't call me. Don't get me involved. This is why most people love to do interview or speak to me, because I talk straight.
Right.
Anything I talk, I try to be very careful with the words I use, but anything I say, it is my experience, or I only give advice which I would take for myself. Right. I'll not tell a man to do something because if him do it, he will get $10, but me not get nothing. No. You get the same advice that I would do for myself. I'm true to myself. I'm one of the most peace. I'm one of the most, what's the word? It's a peace of mind. There's nothing anybody can tell me that can affect me or bother me at my stage of life. I live by certain philosophies and rules. And my most favorite quotation is that, look, when you know you cannot win, you should be the only one to decide how much more you are going to lose. Wow. And I walk from anything that is a vexation to my spirit, because my peace of mind is more important to me than anything else. Wow. Mind you, you know, there are some things that I would not do for me. And I might do it for a friend. But that friend can't say to me, thank you, here is this. No. Because some things I wouldn't do, but maybe in their scenario it's best. So I am not holier than thou, you know.
Right,
understand?
right.
But I said to people, I am rich, very rich. And you know why I'm rich? Because I believe in human capital. Right. And I have that everywhere I go, everywhere I turn. And I am proud of it. Wow. You know?
I love that.
Man.
I love that. A lot of producers from then till now, right? They could claim expertise in one subgenre or another. In other words, some people are great at reggae, okay at dancehall. Catalog great in the dancehall sphere, not that great in the reggae. You know what I mean? Your thing, you come from Uri and all them things, and it's like you're equally adept in both planes, right? But we see, I think there's a misconception over the years, just like there's a misconception with R&B and hip hop that R&B was more lucrative. Is reggae more lucrative than dancehall?
First of all, what is truly lucrative or going to be lucrative is the quality of the content. Bob Marley was the greatest singer in the world, but he had one of the greatest set of songs. And this is why people need to look at the songs, and I keep saying a song make it a singer, and quality of content is king. A lot of what is being made today and is extremely successful will never be successful down the road.
Right.
Because in a sense,
Shelf life.
yeah, them a social commentary or a man a do a girl song and boy a pure girl tune a run. Same way do a girl tune. 20 years from now, probably is a banana tune a run. So the girl tune a run. So you have to look first on the quality of the content you are creating and you're investing in. We not showing off. We are doing better not having hit tune than most people who are making hit tune right now.
Wow.
Because we were conscious then of the potential and possibilities of quality of content. People that talk, own your own tune and have your catalog and thing. But it depends what you own and what you have, what value it will have later on down the road. Because if you're doing songs that's specific to social commentary and specific events and thing and thing, and how long Gilbert you're going to do a song about Gilbert or it can work or what will be the value be, you understand? So you have to be a part of the vision when creating. Look at how or what to do or what's best not to do. Now you can call yourself a producer and you don't have the latitude to make them decision. Artists just come in and sing what you want to sing, do what you want to do and gone, and you want to fix a part and tell it, use auto-tune and fix it and thing. You have to make sure you have things that really, really can stand the test of time. Wow. And, we have a little good grasp of that, Right. And as me tell you, quality of content is king and will always be king.
It's funny you mention that because I've had some conversation with some folks from mainstream radio. And we talk about reggae not getting its fair shot on the radio, which is true. A lot of times when you listen right about now, reggae not necessarily getting an abundance of airplay. But the thing is, what is getting an abundance of airplay from a reggae, whatever small percentage is being played is the same songs that's been played for the last 20 years. Right? Talk to me a little bit about that in terms of, are artists willing to listen to producers? Especially, because I always felt like, and I'll call a name for example, people always talk about Sizzla Kalonji. I thought Sizzla had the greatest catalog up until Soul Deep, right? And then what I was told pretty much is, well, depending on who he's in the studio with, a Bobby Digital or such and such can get something out of Sizzla while somebody else could not do it. Is that the case with artists nowadays, or it's just we stumble up on them tough times?
The industry has evolved where at one point the industry was producer driven. Currently, the industry moved to a phase where it is artist driven. Right. Prior to that, it was rhythm driven. So the whole thing has changed and evolved. Now, a people like a person like Sizzla Kalonji, it's just a great, exceptionally good talent and writer, and people them just talented writers. So they'll be inspired in real time by whatever is happening. So maybe the rhythm will give him a certain inspiration, and he will willingly take guidance to move in a different direction, and a product might come. I don't think many artists who are trying to make it, or some of them who have made it, is all that willing to be guided and to listen and to do things differently. And a part of it is, again, who want to give them guidance and who are provided, whether them think you are worthy of telling me things so and so, because it is artist driven. So the persons who have a track record or have certain understanding, and sometimes how you convey the change and how you do it, because your best shot is to get it done in those scenarios, get it done the same day, same time. Because usually once you pay and them gone, very few of them will come back to fix it, or would be willing to even come back to fix to do anything, And sometimes, as I said earlier, sometimes you're not even sure exactly what you want to achieve. But when you get it, sometimes some things hit songs, some things are buck up, You're going there, go left and right, all of a sudden just feel magnetic and you go right and it works. Yeah. So sometimes the whole chemistry and the whole flow and the whole vibe and the whole attitude sometimes of all parties involved in the production and the creation of it kind of make the end result sound good. So yes, there's logics and there's justification in, who is doing it. Because sometimes people have a certain respect for you and are willing to listen to you. So, the Bobby Digital and the Jammies will get things done the way they want it to be done. Right. And sometimes they'll have a little bit greater understanding of how to deal with people to forget them to deliver what you want them to deliver. You
That's
know?
important too.
Yeah, man, extremely important. And sometimes you have to play psychologist and psychology. Because our man feel is how him feel comfortable and comfortable. Things might have bother him or something might wrong right. And sometimes you have to create an atmosphere for, for everybody to be comfortable and everything be compatible and it works,
Right.
And you have to understand the individuals.
I dig that. We come back a lot of times to the discrepancies in financial rewards when we talk about producers and musicians. However, something I've noticed, and I wonder if you notice it too, this is probably done in industry, music and genre music, where artists expect the producer to foot all the bills, right?
Yeah, man.
And we're also in a situation where anytime I hear people talk about management, I wonder if there's a difference between management and financier, because in other avenues and other genres, people don't necessarily expect management to fund their lifestyle. But in reggae music, it's almost like if you're a manager artist, you pay him rent, you do this, you do that, you do that, you do that. Is that something unique to the culture, and has that been a problem?
Unique. I think our industry evolved out of not following templates or there were standards set. We evolved. And during the whole thing of evolving, a lot of persons, whether on the production side or the artist side, set their own rules. And people just follow it, and people who come learn from the people. But what worked 10 years ago don't work today. Have man come in and because I'm a bad man, he want a tune from me, I have to just come do it. And them days they kind of done. The game has changed. There's no template. But both parties are to be blamed for such a way of doing things, But the question is, maybe a man, him want get involved in the business, him don't understand it. So he wants to get a song from this artist, because the artist hot and it can bust him. So the artist him want $1 gazillion, him say, yes, fine, here it is, And it could be a case where the artist say, this producer is doing well, I think if I could have worked with him, I could. So it's a kind of give and take. There's no template. It's just how the individuals structured and roll and had that. But, most people getting to learn and understand. Because, for example, when you hear artists say every producer a thief, so tell me now, when him start produce song himself, he's a thief too.
Facts. We hear talks about, the ills of the artists, the ills of the producers. If I was to say to you pretty much, just drop a name, because I'm sure it's multiple, of an artist that was just a joy and a pleasure to work with, be around, have that memory of doing some work with, who would that be?
I wouldn't call one. There's about 3 of them as artists. And if you look at my catalog, my history, the ones I've worked with the most have always been because we're just good. And I could have said, go back to the Dennis Brown, the Cocotte, the Freddie McGregor, the JC Lodge, the Mighty Diamonds. Right. And it's not in any order or preference, I mean, for example, earlier, me tell us, record about the wheel. And I mean, those things were just smooth and no problem. Most people could even speak to a Bunny Wheeler. We record at Jimmy Cliff. Most people came, had these things and we record songs with him. It meant that they equally had a respect for us and recognized we had a respect for them. So it was such a joy and a compliment for us to have worked. So the people who I've worked with the most is the people who have had a good job. Is that me tell you? The worst one is Manly Buchanan and Big Youth. Worst one.
So you've had ill experiences, but not like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
You have good and bad experiences with many people. I mean, I have people who, you start a project with them, and my thing, as me tell you earlier, when you know you can't win, decide how much you lose. I have started projects, people, I just stop and I walk. Good, thank you. Now work out, you and I, we are no longer compatible. I can't see it your way, but and neither will I allow you to dictate how I'm going to spend my resources. There are many other things out there, So we even right now, we pretty much know where we are going to go. Where we are going to go means I'm going to step back a bit and, we have a initiative we're going to launch 2013 called Pitchworks. We're going to just look for the cream of the crop and invest and develop, and, we know where we're going in the next phase. Because I always have a plan A, B, C, D, E. I don't have a F. Because you know F, when you F, you get F. So I don't go F. No, I know exactly where I am today. And I think I have an idea where I can go, want to go. And that's where I'm looking for right now.
I wonder oftentimes about folks like yourself, whether it be from a producer standpoint, artist standpoint, or so forth. You've accomplished a lot, right?
Some people say so.
Well, I mean, my Google says you've accomplished an awful lot. That box up on the ground says you've accomplished a lot. So,
But just think, guys, how much record producers you know can walk in and give 60 copies of the CDs of all the recordings basically they have ever produced?
which means for
All
about
right.
another 3 months, y'all will not see me. Is all I'm about to say. No shame in my game. No, I always wonder, why not just chill? Right? No, you don't have to. Right? You don't have to do this. Right? And it's crazy. You'd think that the struggles get better, but no, they don't, because artists are artists and they come back and
True.
why not? Why even deal with this mess still?
If you notice, I said we're looking at where we're going. And when you get to a point where I've gotten where you have all of this experience, you have all of this infrastructure, and you have quite a few people who are dependent upon you also. And if you say, let me just sit back and walk, you're going to leave a lot of people unbalanced. So we are looking at a different way of doing how we need to do. Personally, I have made a decision to slow down a bit. Before COVID, I made a decision, and I said to myself, I took a mortality look at myself, and I said, look, the average man dead about 70 something. You know how much 70s are this. I'm 68. So I feel me have 10 years left at least, right? So I'm going to slow down. So I mean, I'm a workaholic. Every morning early I'm go work. I cut that down. Every 3 months I come Florida, sit down, relax for 3 months. So I'm stepping back a bit. But you need to be careful when stepping back. Because if you're stepping back and you don't have the right set of people to step up, then a lot of things going to get messed up and going to get thrown off. So you still have to be involved to a point and, still cross the T's and dot the I's. Because, if you allow people to do things how they think it should be done, and at the end of the day, in the long term, it's not going to benefit, it can come back and or possibly hurt you. So I am doing that in my own way and my own time. Maybe it reach every 3 months, me take a month instead of 3 weeks. Right. So I am adjusting as I go along. How do I do it? Because like you say, we don't must do it.
It always amazes me. I'm like, they'll deal with this BS. These people can't. but I get what you mean, though.
And there's another part of it too, When you love something and you do what you love, and what you love loves you back, it is difficult with all that love just to walk. It is difficult. You can step back, but don't walk, because it has been good to me, and I get a lot of respect, feeling of from myself to myself when I say I can provide advice to people who are having challenges and issues, and see people making bad decisions, whether you want to be an artist or producer, and I can provide advice because I have had so many experiences, and it gives me a feeling of, I don't even know the word, what kind of feeling, but I feel good to be able to provide advice and minimize some errors of, people, and or give people, as in Jamaica say, give them strength when they need it. I mean, for example, I know downtown them have this thing called Creative Peace. Every Friday night them keep the session, and it's actually Paula Surtees working on it, and she's trying to help people in the communities from tech music rather than violence. And, we have plans to provide a little bit of strength to them. Things like those, when people make, people do bad deals and didn't sign off, or people say them not get paid, and we can tell them, all right, here's a solution, and we can resolve it and move on, everybody happy. I feel that I can't step back from these things, I I can't. It's against my nature.
Understand. You are founding member of JCAP and other organizations. One who said JCAP, which it's not a government entity, but just because it's called JCAP, people assume that it is.
So JCAP is like you're saying PRS, like you're saying ASCAP, like you're saying BMI.
Right.
And it's one of the most efficient, profitable, well-run organization in the history of our music coming out of Jamaica.
Wow. And that's making sure that artists are getting their royalties. No different from...
Not artists, songwriters. Songwriters and music publishers are getting them royalties, getting themselves represented at the highest level. The biggest problem is, again, with them is that people just don't want to comply with the law and get the license and use music. People think them for enrich themselves and using other people's music for enrich themselves, you know, while the creators who are creating the music that they are doing are not doing so well. And that is a big problem. The laws in Jamaica needs to be addressed. There are minor things need to be done. And it just can't done because the will is not there to do it. Wow. You know, one of my wishes before I pass on is hopefully if I ever meet with the Prime Minister, I've not put the effort required. And show him say there's few things you can do when you're people sick and them now and them dead and can't bury themselves and everybody a pressure all the Minister of Culture for help and that and them have to find money. It can be handled another way. If the laws were properly structured now that more money coming to a JCAP, for example, or a JAMS, those people would be able to have more money to provide more help to people rather than people have to go fund me and do all kind of things that, you know.
But we're talking about government here and it's unfortunate because this is why we have governments, but it doesn't seem like that's what they do. You're talking about government having the vantage point of caring for the people, and I don't think that's a priority. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion.
I think every government, unless you're autocratic, wishes the people well, but people just use different methodology and different people to do the task, and people are not focused on things that they could or should do. Maybe some people now listen to the right people and do correct things, and sometimes them get caught up in between looking at, let's say, in music, you know, them have to look at the side of the promoters, them have to look at the side of the creators, and sometimes them can't find a proper middle ground how to do it, you know, because the promoters side have more money and, you know, more voice, more talk, and the other people are fractured and not so much collectively represented as they could and should be. And it takes a longer time for things really work out, you know. I mean, for example, the government of Jamaica claims them have a Vision 2030. Them name about 14. Jamaica the place to do business, raise family, something. My view, them should have a fourth one. And Jamaica should be the most copyright compliant country in the world. That is what them for do. Because look, this music has done more for the country than nearly any other aspect of our culture. So therefore, them not just do what is necessary to make it the people who are the creators benefit where, when and where and how they are supposed to.
I disagree with the nearly part. I swear to you. It's like Gussie is a conversation I have all the time. And I guess, you know what, let me ask you this, since we're on that pathway. R&B, reggae, country belongs to the artists and the producers, right? That's what it is. R&B, reggae, hip hop, those things don't contribute to the nation's growth. They contribute to the private sector, the owner's growth. Reggae music, dancehall, contributes to Jamaica's growth. And I think that's the reason why we feel so personally. That's why I feel so much opinion in it, because I think.
No, I agree with you.
Reggae, to me, is the only infinite resource Jamaica has ever had, right? Because our beaches are eroding.
Look at that, man.
Right?
It is the greatest asset to the culture and to the country. You are correct.
So why can't the leaders, and I'm coming from it from this angle, they will find the resources and the money to support everything else, right? If somebody go win Miss World, congrats, right? The parade and thing go on, right? If the Olympics, and don't get me wrong, it brings recognition to the country.
True.
But the thing is, the Olympics don't bring revenue to the country.
True. It take revenue.
It take revenue. Yep. The Miss World pageants don't bring revenue to the country.
You are correct.
Right? To be perfectly honest with you, the tourism industry fluctuates, right? The only bauxite gone right? Sugarcane, banana, all the stuff that sometimes that are convinced is an infinite resource, gone. The only thing that has never left us, and to be perfectly honest with you, we can argue the quality standards, but the volume has always increased, is the music.
True.
That music brings money, literally and figuratively, because I have traveled many countries in the world, and the only thing they know about Jamaica is the music.
True.
Right? We're in the era right about now when them can think about a Usain Bolt and whatever the case may be. But when I go to countries in the world and I say Jamaica, the first thing out of them mouth is Bob Marley,
True.
Sean Paul. Then we say Demon Marley or Shaggy, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people I have met, I remember working in the travel industry, and people would be booking vacations to come to Jamaica because of the music. So I can list out here from my experience and just logic-wise how much the music industry has contributed to Jamaica. Why? I have my opinion why, but I'm going to ask you, why do you think it is as abandoned is the word I'm going to use, right? In terms of taking care of it and showing love and support to it as an industry by our government as it has been?
The first and the foremost thing the government has to look at, as with anything else, if you intend to plant a crop, for example, first thing, you have to get the land, you have to get the seed, and you have to water it. As Gregory Isaac could have said, you have to fertilize it, right? So, with music, the creators of the music is the first and the foremost people you must protect so that the continuity of the music will not be threatened. The current copyright laws in Jamaica is not adequately protecting the creators of music. So there's a conflict and a fight between the creators of music and those who are using it for commercial exploitation. And the government in the middle and trying to find a common ground. The government, to me, at this point, might be more concerned or focused on how these big events are being kept and the amount of people that come from all over the world to come to these events. But yet still the laws to ensure that the same music will make the event a keep is not adequate enough to benefit the creators how it could and should, and that's where I have a problem with the government of Jamaica.
Right.
They might look on the wrong side of the mirror.
Is that by design, or, I mean, do you really think they care?
I don't think they care as much as they could and should. They talk as if they care. But the problem is, our industry was so fractured and not collectively represented that those people who are benefiting from the music were much more collected and representable, that they basically can stall, intercept, get an impression of their side or their interest versus how the industry should and could defending himself. For example, if you get up tomorrow and say, all right, let us plan to keep a demonstration and we'll go up our radio station and say we want more reggae music to play, for example, you might find 10 people turn up while you have 10,000 people who are involved in the industry. If the Promoters Association get up and say, boy, we don't like how so-and-so, they'll probably get an audience with the correct persons to be who can have an influence to influence the law. And things might work out for them way. You understand? So we as a practitioners need to be a bit more organized and collective and supportive of the industry and how it can benefit us. So as I said before, a JCAP and a JAMS, for example, the amount of money them collect and the high percentage of money that is going back out of the country to foreigners and foreign acts. If the laws were a little bit better, and it's not in a major change needed, it's not just a major change, minor.
Right.
But the will is not there to do it by the powers that be. So it can't happen. Now, if you get to the Prime Minister and you can get him to buy into the argument, I realize. If he says, Jaipo, kindly ensure that these conditions of which the industry requires are enshrined in the law. It happens overnight. But the kind of representation, and I can understand his position, him not involved in that part of it, so him not really understand until it becomes crisis mode or something, hits him. So it don't take a lot to
But
make...
you really think you don't understand? Are the powers that be don't understand?
The powers that be understand, but the amount of layers that exist before a law can be passed, it don't reach the layer that really can have, if put in effect what is needed to be in effect. And the law have inefficiencies and deficiencies.
Right.
And that is where the problem, there are minor changes. I'll give you a simple one. In the law, there's nothing that says if somebody want to keep an event, no matter what kind of event, that they must get a license from whether the jams are the JCAP, X amount of days before the event. The law says, I'm paraphrasing my own words, that you need a license to do it. But it not tell you when. So, a man can keep him dance and him go to the police station and the police station give him permit because the law now say you have to wait X amount of days. So him get him permit. The police can't do nothing until at the night when the event are keep, because him have until any time to do. So that is even one thing that if the Lord said, wherever in the law it for it to go, but it says, if I am correct, it says, forget your KSSC permit, I think, or your police permit. It says that, 10 days before, you have to get the permit in one of the section. But for the music license, which is where everybody have make money out of the music,
right?
And then you have an extra people now who sell the thing. Boy, so the poor people might keep them thing, man, and no one feel like, and they make it look like, okay, it's going to be a great big fee. But that's not the point. The point is the principle and the law. The law say you require a license. The law recognize that when the license given, people make money, the writers and the creators and everybody involved will make money. Right. Some people, and I understand some people's view, them realize them see artists on stage and them think, how much money them make with them. But the artist who we see on stage is not necessarily the person who wrote the song. The man who write the song might be a little man who are dead for hungry.
Yeah.
And them can't. So there's all of this anomaly. But the Prime Minister can do something about it.
Right.
But I don't know if it has gotten to his desk or his ears in a meaningful way that he sees it is in the best interest of our country and our culture of this product where you would just say is the most important product for the survival of Jamaicans and the impact that it can have on the economy, both in terms of tourism and everything related. Any day he gets the message, and he will have to decide for the something. Because not if but might or maybe. What? And I would love to, and I may be the man who going to find a way, even if at my own expense, to show him say,
Please
you can do this.
Please do, because I refuse to think that he's unaware. He seems to be an intelligent man, an intellectual. The thing is this, I've had these conversations with regard to the government and the music before, and I feel not just the government, but just certain sectors of society. Reggae music, dancehall music. It is a way for us. The talent pool, majority of that talent pool, I say 98% of that talent pool comes from poverty, right? So, whatever...
And it can take you out of
poverty.
And it can
take you out of poverty. So, the main beneficiaries, when you talk about straight up cash money and revenue, would be those people, right? And I always find, like, if it don't benefit the already wealthy and a certain set of people, they don't care about it. So I kind of feel like there's a detachment, and the detachment is not, it's not an accidental detachment. It's just don't care. I mean, that's not gonna make way money, which truthfully it can, but it's almost like seeing a product that's gonna make some folks who aren't rich. I may use rich now being generous, aren't rich, and we're already here and it not benefit us as much. It ain't gonna make us who are rich wealthy, but it's gonna make the poor rich. So it ain't our thing. And I've always wondered if that's something.
I don't think that's a fair assessment, because I think it end up that way, but not by design. It's by coincidences and the fractiousness nature of it, right? money make money. People have money, go and find more ways to make money. So a man who have millions and realize, wait, but if me can keep a session and a party, me can make some money, he's going to make it. All him care about is, okay, we'll get the sound and we need the music. I don't think he's looking at it on a micro level to say, but me really need to make sure me get the license and pay the JK part, the jams are the whoever, so that it benefits the people who are giving me what I need to make money from. That connection is not necessarily there. And some don't want it to be there. And so it's kind of a meeting and a melting of the minds going to have to bring all that together. Honestly, I would like to be that guy.
Right.
We're going to try to add some value. From where I sit and I stand as vice chair of the Entertainment Advisory Board, we try. The chairman is actually supporting these initiatives. But the ministry which the Entertainment Advisory Board fall under, I don't think, they are not the ones who have the say how the law is to go. It falls under a different ministry. Let's say JIPO. The government look to JIPO, okay, you go and give me advice. And, the government look to this ministry to handle matters of that ministry, that. So sometimes the Prime Minister, the guy up at top, he's not aware of any analysis, because if the relevant or respective ministers who certain things fall in between is not getting the information and or recognize the importance or seriousness or a lack of importance and seriousness to some things, you're not going to get the end result where you want to get. And sometimes they depend upon sub-ministries or sub-entities to provide to them the guidance, and they act on it. So I don't think it a reach, wait for reach as far as it should have reached, because it should be way past where it is now. Should be way past. So it going to require a different kind of approach. How much support is there, I don't know. But at some point, it is before my time passes, I intend to try to impact or affect the importance of such a change to protect people. Because they kind of all right, Just the people me I worry about now. Me don't worry about me. I'm simple. I'm simple.
Right. No, I dig that. And there's another thing is this. You mentioned earlier, and this has been an issue with Jamaica for years. How much revenue we pay to foreign artists annually, right? In terms of publishing, right?
Roughly about 70% of the money we earn go back out of the country to foreigners.
Why is it that radio in Jamaica? It's funny. All right, we talk about the 30%. Let's talk about the 30% that does come our way in Jamaica, right?
And 30% automatically means 30% of Jamaican music actually.
Exactly. And the funny thing about it is that 30% of Jamaican music, if you dissect it, maybe 85% of that 30% is from the same station. Like maybe one or two or whatever the case may be. So
and some station not pay either.
Yeah, you can't.
Them have to be in court.
Yeah. Major stations.
Major stations in court, major leading genre stations have to be in court, and JK, them have to sue them and all of them things. And, after 10, 20 years after, or 5 years after, them settle and start paying. So
why we still having these problems, though?
Because it's a lack of respect to me for the culture. In many cases, it is self-enrichment. Them interest in a piece, so, and some of them act like them do the industry and the music a favor, but we are playing the music every day and we are promoting the music and things. Some of them, the most arrogant set of them, and this is what most of the music collective entities have with Jamaica, they would like to pay you what they want to pay you. And there are standard rules and tariff will exist, which is below nearly every other country in the world. The tariff are the rules, so they would have pay less. But they want both promoters too, and the entities, radio station, TV stations, they want pay you when they want pay you, and some want pay you when they want pay you.
If they pay you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's multiplicity of problems. It's only the law can correct it. Right. There are some cases where the law provides as teeth that can be applied, but it's like it's false teeth. Them take it out and it's pure gum them I use. Yeah. No, man.
Jano, but it's the crazy
It's sad.
thing- It's sad. It's sad is exactly the word, and it's sad that we have to talk about it so much. Now we talk about JCAP, we talk about jams, and these are entities and institutions that I've done the research. You know what I mean? And I think I'm willing to say artists, musicians, and I keep saying artists because a lot of artists are songwriters too. Artists, musicians, producers. If you're not making the necessary steps to be a part of the entities that will recoup your stuff, then the complaint is kind of unwarranted. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So I mean, I know, but the thing I wonder about is this now, Gussie. So you do your thing, right? You're supposed to live on your vacation right about now for the next 10 years, but
No,
you know,
I call it time out, not vacation. Time out. Because, I mean, I'm here, we just basically get up at the cafe, go get something, lay down, relax, forget, drop
chilling.
everything. Yeah, man, chilling.
So
not
who-
vacation.
When you decide later on, say, all right, I really got to slow down, because we all get to that point.
I've all
Do
started
you see-
already.
Do you see anybody out there that's going to be the next Gussie Clarke, that's going to be champion of the causes? Because I can tell a lot of passions in what you do. You know, anybody going to put that mantle on because...
Well, I'm not sure, you know. Because one of the ills, sad part of our industry and why I can do it is that, respectfully, I don't care who like it or not like it, because whether you play my record or not don't bother me.
Right.
I have already done what I have done, and you can't change history, so you can't hurt me. But there are a lot of persons who are upcoming and who really have the ability, but them don't want to get in the fight to kind of put themselves in a position where it will affect them negatively. So you don't have people as brave as I am and as brazen as I am to take it a certain way to that it is necessary to do. But that's what is required to make it work. You can't talk about a 60-year-old mother call a grumble about something. The first time say, you can't not play him record, I'm not on new tunes and so. You know, you need young people who have the vision, have the passion, and realize that I can't think about me alone. I have to think about the industry, you know. And if, you know, people talk, one of the thing about Jamaicans is that we tend to talk so much and so passionately within our little enclave or our small grouping, but when the time come out to speak publicly, loudly, passionately, them have the passion, you know, but them not go talk, and them don't want to have a negative effect on them. So I have not seen anybody who is willing to be honest. It's actually being honest and being loudly honest, you know. You
It's
can't
almost like
silently
when
honest.
When we said originally that's why sometimes the artist blame producer.
Yeah, man.
And no one taking a chance and compromise
Precisely.
in the potential with a label.
And this is why exactly before it, I said to you, if we say, let us go create a demonstration on a matter, although we have 10,000 practitioners, you might find 10 turn up, because them don't want to say, oh, the artist, I'm out of the station and so and so. Self-preservation are kick in, while to me, I don't care. For me, I'm giving back, I'm doing the right thing, and I believe that I don't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Let me shine. When you started Music Works back in the day, and even prior to that, when you were working with the D-Browns and stuff like that, I can almost imagine the feeling walking in, like the first time talking, I record D-Brown for the first time, I record Gregory, Kokoti, JC Lodge, Shabba, all those people, right? But this is 80s, right? 2023, when you're going into the studio right now, are there artists that walk through that door still, or now that give you that feeling the same way?
There are times when you recognize some exceptional talents. The industry has changed so much that they don't walk through the door anymore.
I'm saying, Gussie, I can't look at the thing no more. Go ahead.
All right. The game changed so much. Everybody have a studio in them bedroom, in them bathroom, in them foul cub, in them house, in them basement, right? So people are more working in groups and sections and, you know, crews and teams. And so everybody technologically can create a recording with basically nearly anything. It will always sound good in wherever you are doing it until it go outside there. So you don't have that talent pool coming to you. But there are so much talent outside there that is not attached. And I would need to find a way to get to them. And as I tell lately before about pitchworks, that's what we're going to do. We're going to look for the cream of the crop rather than the crop. Right. And we have how we think we would like to approach and the development and the program. So, it will work, but it's not the same thing as 20, 30 years ago, And this is a part of the problem with the standard of the music too. Because anybody can sing anything any way you want to sing it, sing anything you want to sing, and say anything you want to say, and record it and put it out and go up on CD, baby, and just pay him $20 and put it out and them say some tune upon it and have him YouTube channel and put anything up there and feel good within himself. And those who are around him might say good, great thing because they are applauding his effort. Right. But how successful some of those things can be, This is why many of the songs that you see are recorded, right? When them try to get to a record company, those that have a great shot or a great chance of going, the people them say, well, we have to mix it over or we have to re-record it or something because in its current form, might be a good idea. I mean, I was saying to you earlier, Proto J's new album will come out. We have a song that we created from nearly about 40, 30 odd years ago, and they have used the track on his new album as one of the songs called Late at Night. So it means that, this thing had to be made good and well way back for 40 years later. One of the top reggae artists in the world wants to use it and in its current form as is.
Redo nothing.
Yeah, not redo nothing. Them just put the singer's voices and we like a voice on it and go. So that kind of thinking have to be involved in the creative process now so that 20 years from now, things that are done now will have that longevity and last the test of time. And if you are not making music that can last the test of time, it might be a bad thing and it might be a good thing for some people. Because some people might realize, or I'll see some of them, which is obvious, that definitely won't, but it will do well now because it's the current thing. Right. So they might make a tons of money at the special and dub plate and stage shows and performances. But the question is, will any of these songs last beyond the time? I don't think so. I tell people something, Some people don't like it. I say to you, Vybz Kartel is a phenomenon. Is one of the most impacting person on the culture of music since Bob Marley. I don't know if anybody has impacted our music as Vybz Kartel. True. So unless you go and find a next person like that, and he has the ability to morph, to change, So we have the talent is there. It's just now it is much more difficult to find them because it's a fractured. Every little studio and the youth on this and that. And again, people have their own way of how they want to do things, and maybe you might have your way of doing things. So that connection and that meshing of the minds and collaborator might not work or can't work. But they are, if you find one out every 10 you run into, that's a good number. Nice. Talent out there, man.
And it's funny you mentioned even that song because I didn't realize that came from your archives, that song with Leela, because that song's my favorite song on the album.
Late at Night.
Late at Night. And the whole thing comes together because the song, this is the thing about music.
It's actually Temptations, the stylistic song, Children of the Night, but we had called it Late at Nights then. Right. And had it done by Pamal.
Yeah, no, it proper. And it's very visual because when I see the video that I did for it,
I haven't seen anything.
It's the video bad. It's different. It's next level. And so congratulations on that one. I heard a producer say one time that, man, I'm going to just go find overseas people to work with. You know what I mean? And vacate this space because it's a little crab in the barrel and all them kind of things. Is that a warranted statement? Do you think you'll ever get to that point?
No. I think we just need to modify how we do things to adapt ourselves to the changing of the times and also respect and understand that the gods have also been changing and have to be changed. And we'll survive. We'll do well, man.
Wow.
Because you can't unlearn what you learn, especially when it worked, The rules and the games are a little bit different, but once you can learn to modify yourself and move with the times, you can still do good once you know what you're doing.
Right.
If you never knew what you were doing and you were surviving and doing well, then you might have a challenge because the rules of your engagement might have only been money. And if you don't have that money now to give, to do, then you might not get the end result where you want to get. So you need to have some talent yourself too.
Yeah.
You have to bring something to the table too. You can't just come to the table with a knife and a fork alone. You have to bring a plate with some food.
No, it's that's a profound statement. You know, I'm my concern though is for the culture a lot, and I oftentimes wonder. We think about the 90s, right? I always say, just like the shirt said, nothing bad like 90s dancehall, right?
True.
And to me, just me, my father would argue with me, but I think that the best era for reggae, R&B, dancehall, and hip hop was the 90s, right?
But I am a child of the past myself. I personally believe that, first of all, our greatest era of innovations was when we were doing collaborations. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You have 5 set of musicians coming to the studio and everybody working on a song. They create the music, the lyrics, everything. So you have 5 different set of talent and minds collaborating cohesively. And we made greater music then, to me, than to now.
Yeah.
But we have not lost the talent pool. It's just the way we're going about doing it, you know?
Fragmented.
And I'll tell you the word I use to describe the scenario. Outside of the collaboration, something else has taken over where I call the me factor. Man wants to say, me build the rhythm, and me write the song, and my studio, me this, me that. But they are acting many different areas of capacity of which them no capable are fully versed in.
Right.
So you have bad things made. You understand? Right. People, it's like an artist, potential artist, has been singing for 10, 20 years, for example. Him no make it. But you know what skill he has acquired over the years, whether as a producer or as a manager or as a writer. Modify yourself to where you forget, be the best of what you can be rather than being the worst of what you want to be. Wow. Something I tell people all the while. It's kind of like a guy come to you. Boy, me I work on my LP, you know. And so I said to him, say, I'm come for advice. I said, tell me something. Have you ever recorded one tune? I said, not yet. I said, then if you can't make one good one, why anybody going to want 10 of you? You know? No, man, you have to be realistic, man.
Facts.
You have to be realistic.
Yeah.
And sometimes being realistic, you don't end up being popular.
Yeah.
But the truth,
or even liked.
Yeah, man. The truth, but the truth have to
But
be.
you know, that's definitely wow. That's something that people need to. I'm gonna cut that one line and use it as a soundbite.
No, it's a fact, man. It's a fact, man.
Jano. And I remember there was a period of time between probably, I'd say about 95, 94 to about 99, 2000 when a lot of our artists were being courted and signed by international labels, right? Now, not so much in the last 10, 15 years. And when we do see that marriage, it's not necessarily that marriage is more of a almost like a subsidiary conditioning kind of a vibe. Do you think, one, we're really hurt because we're at the time right about now where independent artists kind of do reap more reward than if you're with the mainstream sometimes. But are we has that ship sailed? Are we ever going to go back there? That's one. And two, is it necessary and important for the culture for us to go back there?
It's a 50-50 on both sides. Because, for example, whenever artists are the artists them who talk about them no one signed to a record company and this and that and blah blah. They need people. They need somebody going to spend money to develop and talent and promote them. Some of the part of the problem in the past, is that I have seen, for example, an artist is signed to a record label. He makes an album, or he gets $10 to make an album. You have two approach. You have a shaggy approach. Take the $10 and then put 10 on it and make a $20 album. You have a next artist, his approach, him try make an album for $2 and take the $8 and put it in pocket and buy a brand new Benz and up and down and floss and thing. That kind of approach have to change. Because one of them in the long term going to bring greater rewards You understand? And that is what the problem is. I said to people, every record company wants to find the next best artist. Every record company wants to find artists who can sell serious amount of records. Right. If you deliver something to them and them to see how this going to fly, going to be successful, they are not going to put any serious amount of money or promotion it, because there are scientific things what them do and try if you test it and see how the market look going to work. And if them no see it can work, they are going to not be willing to invest beyond a certain point. And the next album you're going to do, instead of if them want to keep you still because they have you, instead of giving you $10, they might give you $5. Right. You understand?
If so much.
If so much.
Yeah.
So people, if you understand, it goes back again, quality of content is king. You understand? If you're not singing great songs, not properly producing your music, how can you want to compete with the world? Or you want to compete with a Jay-Z, they might use a microphone that costs 20,000 US or 100,000, and them have the best mixing engineer in the world and in the best acoustically correct recording studio. Right. And you have a $20 mic, just I use a number for conversation and incorrect acoustics, and or you believe that when the radio going to play your song and mix from Jay-Z to you, I mean, the thing just going to sound out of sync. Them are all these little nuances them have to understand.
But we don't blame it. But when the success doesn't come, we blame it on everything else.
But themselves.
Except, you mentioned that back in 2007, I was working on a project, right? And I linked Digital Chris on Area FM. I grew up Ochi with Digital Chris. And I said, Chris, I have a song, need your fit, give me a strength. I'm going to ask for a strength, Okay, you know the thing, strength. So I'm going to send Chris a song. Chris send me back one bag of lecture on the song. The song, that it need, this it need, that it need, this it need. And in my mind, I was like, bro, if Killer send you a song, if Sizzler send you a song, you just have to play the song. So
man.
Why couldn't play the song? But anyways, I didn't tell him that, but that's what I felt, right?
But
so,
that's a fact.
But here's the funny thing about it. One day, I got somebody else to play the song on the radio for me. I remember like yesterday, Taurus Riley, She's Royal, G Cole song, Richard Stevens, Marijuana, right?
After that,
that was since the grid there, it was right down like that, right?
Yeah, man.
I said to myself, well, damn, I saw what Chris was talking about. Right? so it goes back to the way I said right about now. Sometimes we need to take that criticism there a lot better, because once you put it out there, it can't come back,
True.
It cannot come back. And there's an industry standard.
Yeah, man.
You just mentioned that the microphones. I sent Grams a video the other day because I was on air playing his song. I'm going to say, between Grams and Stephen Marley, me feel say Jesus himself when they mix it for them. The vocals, me feel say I take them vocal recordings, because just the way how it sounds.
And what some people have to understand, sound is a science.
Yeah.
It's a science. Different microphones brings out different quality, depth, uniqueness in different person's voice. The microphone, which sounds great for you, might not sound great for Bob Marley. You understand?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that understanding of sound, if you're using, DAWs and digital plugin, certain plugins, although they tend to do similar things, will just not bring out the best in you as it will in John, Tom, or so. Yeah. So the engineer have to have that degree of understanding and respect for sound. When something done, and people also have to understand that if your place is not acoustically correct as it could or should be, it will sound good in there. Right. So you're a man, so boy, it sound good inside the sound them in the ear, because sound is a science, and one of the thing you want to build a studio where possible, try get the acoustics correct. There's technology now, you can buy certain software that can analyze your speakers, so you have to invest. You can't just do what you want to do when you want to do, how you want to do it, and say, boy, I might tune the business what you want to say, Yeah, man. I never forget, how important, even sometimes people don't understand, just how you name your song, how important it is.
Oh, yeah.
Upton Lindo, I remember I wrote a song, a Greg Isaac tune name. The song was called
Red Rose Reggae?
No, it was called I Am Passing Through.
Mad.
And I said to Upton, Upton, kind of sound away like you tell this girl, I say, boy, young la pass through like, you know?
Yeah. Me not there for
Just,
long haul.
say it more positive to say, I am not passing through.
Right,
Because
right.
definitely, and Upton was receptive. That was the issue with people like Upton and Mike Bennett and the team, you know.
Yeah.
And it made such a difference in the end of the song because it's some kind of negative to say. You know, the next thing is a man and make a song. I love Ja. Okay. 20,000 song name I love Ja. Go up on YouTube, I love Ja. You scroll to about 40 pages. Mama, I love Mama. Same thing. How you name the song, you have to give a song unique name and value so it's easier to find, to locate. To. So it's a whole lot of things people have to understand. You know how much important, talented, great musician in Jamaica not doing well, and a guy became can program Fruity Loops. Him say all of a sudden I'm a musician, you can program a digital software, you become and great musicians are there, but you know, people just need to, you know, sell themselves differently and buy different things and work with different people. You know, I believe
Invest
that
in yourself.
we're in a good space where you can meet in of the minds of two generations and the young and the old, because it's all about upcoming talent and young people and the music going to change. Dance all know it going to be something else later on, you know. So we have to have the ability to adapt, you know, to survive, you know.
Right now, we see relationships. I don't know if I want to call them relationships. We see connections with some of our big name artists and some internationals, folks. You know what I mean? The Drakes of the world, Nicki Minaj's of the world. Sometimes them have, you know, they dabble, not just on the instrumentation side, but with somebody. And of course, it's a hype, and it creates a hype for social media and all that stuff. And but how comes it doesn't translate into the same thing as when you do a song for Rihanna or when Richie Stevens gets sampled by Rihanna? How comes these hype relationships that we're seeing and so forth, how comes it's not translating into anything?
Well, because they were quite likely designed for those relationships for different reasons. I mean, one thing I usually say to people that, look, when a foreign act sees a reggae act and them say them want to do a collaboration, if I was a Jamaican act, I'd be so careful to make sure that when me deliver, when me had such a value to this recording that they'll come for me again. Sometimes when you listen to the content of what is delivered, it's like the same kind of thing with them I do with anybody else you hear. So sometimes it requires a serious amount of effort, and sometimes, you know, it is said you need to believe in yourself, but sometimes you need to be careful how much you believe in yourself too. Because you can be selling yourself and buying yourself at the same time and no value end up with it. So I think a whole lot of collaborations has not brought the end result that they could have, should have, and or was designed to bring for some of these great artists, you know?
Right. If I gave you the keys to the industry right about now and said, go see this thing I need to fix, but guess what? I mean, you may call upon. What is it that you're changing immediately? If you're gonna rectify the ills and the woes that's going on right about in the reggae and dancehall industry, what are you changing by morning?
Strong question and prepared for it, but a couple of things I would say. I'd go back to looking at the Copyright Act to make sure that the rights of the creators who are the vanguards, the forefront, is protected more than anything incompatible with international standards. The second thing is I would tell every artist, every record producer, do no business with no man unless you have a contract. And I'd find a way to see if I could simplify contracts that those who can afford to go to a lawyer, there are certain basic things that which should be inserted. Protect everybody on all sides, you know. Those are the two most important, because too much people ball, you know. For example, you have a producer, artist ball or producer thief. You have a producer, him do a song with an artist. Pay the man some money, do the song. The artist then later on come and say, boy, I do the LP, you know, I want a tune for put on it. And the man say, yeah, but me pay you. Give me a thing.
Yeah. I own the song now.
Yeah, it creates a problem. You find that same artist possibly going license the song to a record company. So the deal that you should make is that, look, the record company should pay the producer directly whatever fraction or percentage agreed upon for his song. And you can also say it should not be subject to any clause, any royalty clause for which the artist has signed to, you know. Now, the average man, if you say something like that, you create a problem. To me, in my case, don't use my song then. You understand? Because why do I need to wait till you get paid for you pay me? It don't make much sense, you know? So the whole legal framework is what I would look at, how we can kind of standardize that. So if the law is right and the legal framework exists, ultimately down the road, more people going to be better off. That is what I would do.
What are they doing well that you'd keep? What are you not changing?
God, I'm not sure. But one thing I know, Jamaica is an abundance of talent. And I would like to look at, let's ensure in schools, let's say, this is probably, should have to be the question before. I would say, let's say in schools we ensure that music is taught, not just to play like a flute or we grew up a play. Reggae music is taught and is understood. That I am more appreciative of reggae than dancehall. And it's not because of generational issue. But if you look at what has brought Jamaican culture more success than anything else, there's no question, it's reggae. So you have to look at that which has proven itself and so on. So let's use it as the base. And I would say the base. The next thing I'd look at, I'd probably say, the question we asked way back earlier was, and that is a matter now being looked at in many corners, but how far it will go, I don't know, is that certain amount of Jamaican content should be played on radio every day. The problem might be how you define Jamaican content. For me, the language that I have advocated would be the genre and any recording containing something produced by or recorded by any Jamaican so and so. Because if you get it too complicated, then the people who are anti that, So therefore, when a foreign reggae play, still Jamaican genre reggae, you know. When a calypso meant to dance, it's still. So those are things I'd like to see. But I'd like to see music. Because the power and the impact and the influence of music on the young, you know, I don't think enough people really understand how it impacts. But what is impacting them more than anything else is when they hear certain foreign song parade. Them know nearly every foreign tune. Them know the hit Jamaican ones are the popular ones. And they know the dances and they love them. So I'd find a way to see if I can get that in school. I would like to see relationships where certain studios and record producers, you know, you adapt a school, you know, it provide them with instruments and things. Your kids can come at the studios and get to understand, you know, how it works. I don't want a integration and a greater integration and appreciation of music at the younger ages, because they're the next generation of persons who will be the creators. So I like to see them kind of thing that happen, you know. It's not difficult, you know.
And that's the part of it that makes it hurt so much, is knowing that it
not difficult.
Another thing I can't let you get out of here without asking you, sir, Gussie, is this. We ball every year in February when it's Grammy time, right? We ball. Because we never are in agreement with what's going on. And my opinion on it pretty much is, I feel like we all want who we want for win, but as long as none of them win, you know what I mean? It's one of them things there.
It's a Jamaican thing.
It's a Jamaican thing.
Yeah, man.
We just had a non-Jamaican band win the Grammy, and of course
not the first,
but
the last side.
You know what it is? It's not the fact that they're non-Jamaican; it's the fact that they're white. That was the major issue. If there was two black people in the front page, they'd have been all right, cool.
Honestly, I think so.
But yeah, if it was a black non-Jamaican band, then it wouldn't get the same response.
But a part of it, you know, is that the people who complain so much, them don't even join the thing. They don't understand the rules, but yet still them a complain. You know, I mean, why throw stones from a distance? You know, and there's all strategies involved too. When the recording was released, you know, for it to be considered. There's a whole heap of things behind it, the voting process, who, you know, who is in there, who is on the committee, who can we approach and appeal to, you know? So it's a whole lot of things that we as a people have to understand, not because of reggae, and we love you as an artist and we know your project good, but we probably don't know enough about even some of them people who win, you know?
And how long they've been at it.
I
Who
think,
them I work with.
yeah, and I think it is, but to me, you know, I think it should, when we see a non-Jamaican win, to me that should inspire us more to work more hard and more careful the next time around and get a bit better grasp and understanding of how that works.
Right.
You can't stay from outside and throw stones. It don't make no sense.
Are the screams, are the voices that are screaming that we're losing reggae music, are they warranted screams, or is it just
We're not losing nothing. We are giving something. If you look, what was one of the most important things in reggae music, and it was the message in the music. Enough of us is not still carrying these quality messages. We are talking about kill and murder and who for dead, and the message is not as positive now as it was then. Is the quality of content, again, you hear me talking multiple times. That is what put our music on the map, because it resonated with so much different people all over the world, black and white and green and yellow, who are having the same scenarios, except the message came as support and people see it as support and them resonate and connect to it. There are too much negative content in our music right now. It sounds fine, it sounds fancy, it work for many people. Happy for you.
Right.
But I couldn't be a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's always this thing where people get the impression like when people sing about songs about kill and who and shoot out who tomorrow, that okay, is creative expression, if you understand. My argument has always been to say, if you hear a great love song and it makes you feel passionate, sentimental, and soothe you because you have that, then the song we are safe got shoot out a man and kill him and so on. So the man who does those kind of work, would that also appeal to him?
Yep.
So the negative content going to reflect itself in society in a negative way. Because you're praising, you're advocating them kind of thing there where can't last the next 10, 20 years. Yeah. And those people are doing it, those songs you won't hear them 20 years from now. We tell people, say, look, if after 30 odd years after him death, Bob Marley is selling more records than nearly everybody put together, Jamaican reggae artists, then something was right then. That is not right now.
Yep.
And that is a fact you can't deny.
That's facts. Are we making too much music? Is too much music coming out? Is our music becoming disposable because the volume? And it's not even, I'm not even so much even weighing the math between quality and quantity at this point in time. Is there an overabundance? Are we putting out too much?
It is difficult to say for two reasons. The whole thing of free market and freedom of expression and, you know, free enterprise, and people have them equating them, can do it them want. You can't stop it, you can't control it. We are in a capitalistic, supposedly democratic society. You can't. So it makes sense to look at it. It makes sense for those of us who have the ability to recognize that some of them doesn't seem to be or have not had anywhere going, believe that it is also an opportunity and a space that you can try to make things that you think might work and hopefully hope it work. So looking at the numbers, nature take care of it for we. Them not going away.
Right.
You know,
right.
make some noise, yes, but die. I mean, if you hear some popular artists and you think of them hit from last year, you probably can't remember the name. Maybe you're in a radio, you might.
No, I cannot.
You can't. No. So that is telling you something. But you can remember things from 20, 30, 40 years ago, a stand-up and thing.
Yeah.
It shows you again quality of content, a king. And if you want, and sometimes you hear this argument about some artists from how long are them do well and them are suffer now. And some of them, respectfully, did not have enough material that would have lasted a test of time to feed them today.
Yeah.
You understand? Because somebody make a song about an event which was a social commentary of a space and a point in time that has no relevance now.
And it did great then.
Yeah, it did great then. Happy for you. But it don't have the ability to last, you know?
Yeah.
And like a next set of man, tell a boy, the amount of tune me right, you know, and me never get a penny. But okay, did they sell? Were they successful? Are they being played now on the radio? Are you getting performance royalty radio from ASCAP, BMI, or PRS, or anywhere that you can say, you know, there's a formula once I usually look at years ago, like a song would play at least about, I use a number, do you remember, 10 times more than what it sell. So for example, if you get $10 for publishing, you know, so well, you'd get X amount. So, but the consumption has changed.
Yeah.
1 million records probably is $100 if you look at 1 million streams.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get $100. But they're looking at the millions, you know, and they've used that as ratings.
Yeah.
No man, it's tune come out on a 1 million stream, you get and thing, and you know.
Yeah.
We're using different matrix now to judge the
Streaming is
thing
the devil.
by, and people have to be they have to understand it, and they have to be honest to themselves and stop blaming people, and just look at what is it that they might need to do. This is why I said earlier about people still need record companies. Somebody have to promote you. You have to know if you navigate the whole social media thing, because me have it on my social media account and me stream it and people are share it and thing. But who is consuming, you know?
Yeah.
Why does a film company wants to use your song as sinking a song? If you look at most of the songs that has been sampled, is really songs from, most of them is the 90s and stuff, true, you know.
And some over and over
All
again.
right, thank you. I can call a whole lot of them. I'm involved in many of them, so
Yeah.
I can tell you that, you know. And these songs make serious money, you know. And, you know, as again, be the best of what you can be, rather than end up being the worst of what you want to be. You have to be honest to yourself.
I love that, sir. I love that, sir. At the end of the day, when you decide for jumping in a spaceship and sail off and done with the foolishness, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to say? When they say Gussie Clarke, what do you want them to say?
I have never had that thought, and I'll tell you why. So much has been said right now that I don't know where else them can say. I think it's like somebody might I might be talking to somebody and them ask where you do or so and so. I said to them, just Google Gussie Clarke to speak for itself. I don't have any thought about my legacy because I think it has been realized within my lifetime.
Wow.
The amount of awards, accreditations, respect, benefit financially, every holly. I have gotten it all.
Right.
You know? And this is why my mission is basically to help, to give back. And the deserving is who can come to me, not the needy, because I can't solve the needy problem, because I'm still on need.
Right.
So I think that which I deserve, I have gotten, and I am getting, and nothing more is owed to me.
Right.
You know, and I just live my life a certain way where that's just how I see it. And as me tell you, the greatest thing I think anyone can achieve at this point in time, in this era, and I have achieved it, it takes, it's not simple for, the average mind can achieve it. It's peace of mind.
Wow.
Nothing, nobody can tell me can bother me. Nothing can faze me. You'll have emotional effect.
Right.
But if I to change your life, nothing.
Right.
Because I kind of learned a lot and learned to learn a lot and still learning a lot. And I'm in a good place. Good place.
I love it. Not very many can say that, and that's something that, again, last single I drop is called Peace of Mind is a Holiday, and it resonates right here.
There you go.
What can they, if there's something that they don't find on Google but they need to know about Gussie Clarke, what would that be? What you want them to know?
I don't know. I never thought of that.
No.
Because, again, I might have some ratings, but I'm a simple person.
Right.
So I don't have a trumpet to blow. I don't think I have any need that I want that has not been realized, that I am ambitious of. Because I believe that what I do is what I love. And what I love loves me back.
Wow.
And that put me in a good place. I'm in a good place in every alley you can think of. Because I take life simple, everything simple. I am attracted to people who have a certain spirit and a certain spirituality.
Right.
I'm in a good place. If to me, if there's a heaven, I am there.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I am there.
I love that. I love that. For the masses out there who need to partake in the catalog to go listen to some of the tunes and so forth, where do you send them? Just tell them to look up.
Yeah, I mean, the bulk of it was released previously by, let us say, a Green Sleeves or a VP, you know, in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And it is, again, it is my duty and obligation to, and I have at great expense to myself, set it for example, I gave a while ago 60 CDs. Mm-hmm. Anybody who I think deserving and a well-wisher and a fan, I give them this. So it's like me give a piece of me. Me give a part of my history. I never sold any, will not sell any. Right. And I got great length to put it together. You see, you get it shrink wrap and everything fine and the original packaging and thing. Mm-hmm. Some of them we had to scan. That is my giving and give back to people who are fans and people, you know, okay. I have a man who named Phil Medina somewhere in California, I think. Mm-hmm. We never met the man, but he's one of them real fan and, you know, how long he has asked me to specific albums. I think they might be at the house, and I every now and then me shoot him my email. Yeah. Please do not think that I have forgotten you. Right, but you know, at the house me have to move some piece of board to get to the box them, and like on my Sunday, I know me I'll make sure me do it this time. Right. Those are the things that, you know, gives me a good feeling to give back some kind of love and respect to those who have shown it to me, you know. Right. And the people who may have around me, who have worked with and for me, you know, make sure that they're in a good place. Nearly everybody who work for me own them own house. You know? And me give to them, but me give them the opportunity. Because sometimes the opportunity given or taken or not taken is not the opportunity, but the opportunity that can lead to the real opportunity. Yeah. So I create opportunities and I use opportunities, you know. So I'm in a good place, man. Good place.
Well, I'm one thing I'm going to ask you to do for me, though, is this box of CDs, I needed to tell these people on the ear says it's not to share, you know. Because I want to know, I don't want nobody hit me up tomorrow and yo, so you know, I give her one of the No.
You see?
Hell no, as a matter of fact, not just no.
Yeah, and it's one of each. And tell them, say, because you are in the deserving group, that's how you end up with it, not the needy.
Sergo, so let me say on behalf of myself and all of the people listening in on radio, watching live, everywhere, all over, thank you so much, first of all, for just passing through, blessing us with your time. I know we keep you long, you know.
Oh, good, man.
But me appreciate it. And of course, Mikasa, Sukasa, anytime you're in a town, anything needs to get out there, let us know. We got you covered. Me not share none of the CD them.
Pretty soon I'm going to send something to you now. I am working on something that even Shabba Ranks know. Mm-hmm. We're doing Champion Lover, Mr. Loverman. We're doing a remix of it. Ooh. And, you know, we basically, but it's a strategic release for usage of sampling purposes. Because I realize there are some unique lines in this version of it. So we're doing a remix. We're not even sure it definitely going to have a GSC Lodge in it. Right. And it might have another female, so we intend to call it Champion Lover, the threesome remix.
Mad.
Not even Shabba know yet.
Jano. So 2022?
I doubt it. At this point, 2023, we were trying to get it done to actually bring it to you. Mm-hmm. But what happened is that Stephen Stanley is actually mixing it. It's very complex in terms of what we're doing. Right. And just didn't get to finish in time, and I won't be back down till about near the end of the month, so it's going to take a time. So, you know, but I'll make sure as soon as we're done the remix, I'll ensure that you get it, so you have it and can play. Definitely will, Papa.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend, and again, we don't use the word loosely like that, the legendary, all right? All of people walk around talk about legend. Stop it. Stop it. Me don't care from my father. You're good, but I'm a legend. You know what I mean? My daddy, not a legend. You know what I mean? Sir Gussie Clarke, thank you very much, sir.
My respect and thank you too.
Pleasure. I got to give my piece more of this because it is in fact one of my favorite tunes right now. Including the fact that I still can't believe that 2023 I'm just a year son. I swear to you. I swear.
But remember, about 3 different remixes of all a reggae version that we know. You
So
never
if
feel?
it's 3 different ways of shame.
Yeah, well, I think I only sent you 2. But you have the reggae version, man. Yeah, man.
When I love the tune, I love it.
As I tell you, it's one of my favorite I've done, you know. It's not the most successful yet, but it's fair because the depth of the song and way to deal with and thing, and you don't really in a reggae tune out the way I tell somebody about when you get, and the song is written deeply, deep.
5 minutes and change, almost 6 minutes, and that first of all, it feel like it's too short. I swear to you, it almost feels like it's a mix, like it should have longer. You know what I mean?
And the smoothness of it, you know.
It's a classic vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to roll up out of here. Again, DJ Lance, all my UK people, make sure say you go. And again, you don't, like we said, 1 million streams ain't going nothing. So go look up the catalog, listen to it, find it wherever you need to find it. But in advance, low me, no bother me. No, none of this seed, no. 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 That's all I got to say. Sir Gussie.
My respect, Papa. My respect.
Pleasure. Looking forward to doing this again because, again, funny enough, I guarantee you we can't go till midnight. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. We'll get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has indeed been a pleasure. Remember, subscribe to the podcast, Homegrown with G Cole, available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio.com, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. All right? And, of course, this will be up on Spotify and wherever by the weekend. For all those people watching on YouTube right about now, I know I'm a podcast guy. Sometimes I want to drive. I listen to it at my leisure, at my pleasure. So guess what? I'm going to make sure it's up there. All right? Thank you for all the radio stations that stream Rubber Ranks Radio, all the other stations in the Europe and the UK. It's info you need to have, and it's indeed my pleasure. Sir, thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Nakikinika sa música, Homegrown with G Cole.
Estás escuchando Homegrown con G Cole.
您现在正在收听的是 Homegrown with G Cole.
You're listening to Homegrown with G Cole.
Ladies and gentlemen, where's the DJ Lance? You vexed with me? I know I'm mad mind the thing. Beverly, what up? Haldane, what up? Thank you so much. Thank you, Diane.
May the worst day of the future.
Ibrahim Lajo.
In your past.
Hope.
May all the dreams you planted come within your grasp. Get well soon. Get well soon. Oh, yes. Come on. Get well. 'Cause I love you. I really, really do, yes.
They say at the end of the tunnel there is a light. We all have to struggle, we all have to fight. Brother, oh brother, I beseech you, get well soon.
Let the healing power of the blessing shower every time, night and day. May your days be brighter, and your road be lighter as you go along the way. When I heard that you were down, oh, my
Thanks so much, Lydia. Large up Hugh. Large up Mr. Tony Carr. Woo, I gotta get up out of here. Thank y'all so much for rocking, man. A beautiful, beautiful day for me. You see me I show off. You know I'm gonna do a feature, right? Featuring full projects. It's called Get Well Sooner. We got to, alright? King Tubbs. What up, Julianne? How are you?
Momentarily a wish,
Wagwan Mish.
suddenly a prayer. I know that John knows best. He has a way of telling you.
Definitely when you say you want yours.
The postcards and the pretty bouquets show the feelings all conveyed. Blessings from above, but true. And so is my love for you. Get away, get well soon. I love you. Get well soon. Get well soon. Oh, I miss you. Get well soon. Get well soon. 'Cause I love you.
May the worst days of your future be the best days in your past. May all the dreams you nurtured come within your grasp. Won't get wet. Get well, get well, get well, get well.
It's called Get Well Soon. Mighty Diamonds featuring Bunny Wheeler, JC Lodge, Genevieve Bailey, Yami Bolo,
Cause I love you.
Crown Prince Mr. Dennis Brown, Muta Baruka.
Or well, in sickness or health, my love I give to you. Live that I can live too. So by the sun and the moon, get well soon.
May your day
The Grace Thrillers, Judy Mowat, Carlene Davis, Mikey Spice, and Richie Stevens. All on one record. Never been done again, all right?
When I heard you were down, my heart began to pound, yeah. Then you know you've got to be strong. The blessings of God will keep you close. Oh, yeah.
No speaking no English, DJ Lance, no speaking no English.
Oh, because
You don't know where I live.
when I love
You won't know where I live.
why don't you get
CD's turn up.
to? Because I love you.
May the worst day of the future
Make sure y'all join me this coming Monday, right? 7 p.m. right here, Eastern Standard Time. My guest on that show, Mr. Julian Jojo Marley, all right? I'm gonna bring you another in-depth conversation, man. Remember, Julian Jojo Marley be joining us on the program on Monday, all right? So get ready to join us. To tell your friends to tell their friends to join us right here. Bringing in some dope stuff. The year's almost over, so I gotta close out like this. Aight?
At the end of the tunnel, there is a light. We all have to struggle. We all have to fight. Brother, oh brother, I beseech you, get well soon.
Let the healing power of the blessing shower every time, night and day.
charge up. Musical genius, my UK fam, what's poppin'?
Begin to pound.
Out there, what's up? Wendy, I got you covered.
Got to be strong.
Sir Garrity. Love Dr. Series Nagan. Know him, man. You don't know. I just gotta get these dope ones in. Because I might have to hit the road, you know.
Cause I love you.
I gotta go. Remember, join me Monday. My guest, Julian Jojo Marley. It's gonna be a vibe, alright?
Cause I love